Episode 195 is brought to you by our supporters. If you want to support the show, get some bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. So I want to welcome Soul Ender and Zyras to the Patreon crew this week. And each episode is dedicated to our top tier supporters: Gentinu, Splimo, Strosity, Mallard, Twisted Soul, J Blaz, Z Space, Yay Fiber, and Soul Ender. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you to everyone else who supports the show as well. But hey, if Patreon's not your thing, you can buy me a coffee. Well, it's virtual coffee, but you can still do that on buymeacoffee.com/dills. So thank you to Angie666 for buying me a coffee. And finally, thank you to our awesome Discord server boosters, giving our server all of these nice and cool perks, including a unique URL, which is discord.gg/thewilderness. So thank you, Bonehead, Battlestabs, Beef Click, Chick, Fart Pilled, Hoyt, Should've. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. This is our year in review 2021 episode. We look at all of the wacky stuff that happened this year, or lack thereof, that happened this year. But of course, every single year in review episode we always have some sort of drama and controversy to talk about, and this year is no different. So there is some fun stuff to talk about. So let's do some reflecting on 2021 and looking forward to 2022 and what's to come, because boy, oh boy, is this going to be a big one. Okay, let's get into our New Year's special. Welcome to episode 195 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm Dills. Join with me is Heartless.
Hey Dills, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's been... this is our New Year's special episode. So we're not going to go over actual updates, but we're going to take a look back on 2021. I think it'd be fun to kind of look back on our accounts and kind of see... remember what 2021 was like for our accounts. I know for you, that was it was probably a pretty big year for your account. Big. Yeah, you got a bunch of massive things. For me, maybe not so much, but we rounded some stuff off. And then, of course, we'll look back on some of the updates that have happened and some of the things that have just happened in 2021. Also talk about where we think we are heading in 2022, both our accounts and maybe where RuneScape is heading. Yeah, all of that, not in any particular order. Now, before I ask you what you've been up to since Christmas and how your Christmas and New Year's has been, I thought it'd be fun to open it up. I got a fun card from somebody, and it was sent to us from from our friends over at XP Waste Podcast. They are, of course, another RuneScape podcast, old school RuneScape podcast. And yeah, they sent me a postcard. Well, it's a Christmas card, but I asked if it was okay if I opened it up on the air, and he said yes, do it. So let's see if someone's gonna get doxed here. So he got, oh my man, they made a custom made podcast of both Oxy and Bloodhound, which is the two hosts of the show. Wow, they went all out, but one's in a onesie and they're in their pajama pants. Oh, they got DDS and everything. So this is Mary, XP Waste from Oxy and Michael. And this is thank you for your support of the XP Waste podcast. We couldn't do this without you. Sending warm thoughts and good vibes to you and yours. Happy holidays. Man, that's a good idea. We should have stolen that. Maybe for next year, we have to do the same
nice.
thing. Yeah, it's a cool little picture. Maybe I'll post it up afterwards. So, we'll start. So, thank you for sending that over. That's super kind. Really great idea. All right. So now, of course, I got to see how was your Christmas? How did your Christmas go? We are we're actually 2 days after New Year. So
it was pretty good. I had a good time. There wasn't anything too crazy that happened. It was pretty low key. So went to my parents' house with my sister and my girlfriend and her and my sister's partner, and that's pretty much it. Just kind of hung out.
Nice.
It wasn't anything crazy, but we did enjoy ourselves.
That's good. Sometimes when things are crazy, it can be
too much. Yeah,
exhausting.
No doubt. Yeah, we just kind of split up the dinner, which is what we always do. I did the potatoes, mashed and roast, of course.
Ooh, nice.
And vegetables. And then my dad did the meat and stuff like that. And then my sister did, I don't know, dessert or something. So yeah,
cool.
A little bit of everything.
Fun
what about
stuff.
You? How was Christmas?
My Christmas was good. It was very different, and it will probably it was very different. A few days before Christmas Eve, so I had a baby back in November 25th to be exact, but he was born 7 weeks early. Was due January 11th, which that date still hasn't come. So he was 7 weeks early, and he had to spend some time in the NICU, just kind of growing and watching his brain kind of kick into gear and learn how to feed, which was kind of crazy to watch him kind of like, just you start seeing instincts start pop up where they weren't there a few weeks ago, and now he's starting to, drink from a bottle a little bit. Anyways, pretty interesting stuff. But a few days before Christmas, my partner she was asked to kind of stay in the hospital just to be there for all of his feedings, because every 3 hours he has to be fed, and he's starting to feed more on his own. Before that, he was through a tube. So she got asked to stay at the hospital, and then the COVID 3.0 pops up, the Omicron. So they actually started restricting access to the hospital, which meant I wasn't actually able to come in at one point. Only she was able to stay over there. So she was there at the hospital, and then I was stuck at home on Christmas Eve, actually. It was the way I looked at it was like, I'm about to lose every one of my nights. And this is the last couple of nights I have to myself, where I can stay up as late as I want, playing video games. I can just do whatever. So it was kind of nice in a way. So Christmas Eve I spent playing RuneScape, playing Escape from Tarkov, and also watching The Matrix, because for some reason I heard the new Matrix movie came out, so I was like, I want to watch the first one. And then I went and read reviews of the newest Matrix movie, and then I heard it was terrible, so I'm probably not going to watch it. I have this problem where like I read reviews of things before I do whatever it is. Yeah, and sometimes I'm like really excited to do something, and I read a review, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch or read that because the review is kind of bad.
Yeah, you got to go into films blind. That's definitely a good way to do it.
It's hard because I hate watching a movie where you're like halfway through and you're like, this movie sucks, and you've spent so much time waiting for it to get better. Like we watched for our New Year's, which of course I got to see how your New Year's went, but we didn't do much, and I'm going to get to that for a second. But we watched the movie Don't Look Up, which came out on Netflix, which was supposed to be it's about this asteroid coming to hit Earth, and these like scientists are trying to tell everybody and warn them of this planet destroying comet, and everyone's kind of too busy not caring. They're all about the newest pop stars relationships. They don't care about whatchamacallit. Anyways, so many good reviews about it. We got halfway through it, and I was like, I'm not really into this. This is kind of boring. And we ended up just turning it off. And then we watched another movie which also sucked. So we watched
that's no good. Dude, on New Year's, Ashley and I watched the new Witcher series, season 2.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it good?
Her coworker told her that she's like, it wasn't very good. And Ashley and I were like, that's weird. We should trust this person. So we're like, that doesn't really make sense, because the first season was so good. And then we're like, all right, New Year's, let's get drunk and watch it. And so we did. Amazing. It's so good. We watched like 4 or 5 episodes the first night. We stayed up way late. It's just as good, if not better, than the first season. So no idea what her coworker was talking about. But I guess we won't trust her reviews anymore. Honestly, some of my favorite experiences, especially in movie theaters, have been when I've gone into something blind. So I'll never forget these two. So one of them was the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is like a cult classic. I'm not big into musicals. I knew it was a musical. I showed up. Everyone was dressed up. It was at the university, and people were like throwing popcorn at the screen, and people were like dancing and singing in the movie theater. Everyone was dressed up. It was insane experience. People would like yell things during the film as well, like during certain parts.
And it was like good yelling, or is it like, dude, shut up?
No. It was like funny, like there's definitely sort of like,
yeah, okay,
kind of scripted in a way. So like every time this character showed up, they'd shout like "bitch" or something like that. Like, and it would be lots of people doing it. It wasn't just like one person, or like a few people had like funny comebacks to things that the character said. So it was a very like interactive experience. It's never happened to me before or since that film. So I'll never forget that. The movie itself is it's a little long for my liking. I'm not big into musicals, but it still was a fun experience. I wouldn't change it for anything. And then at the same theater, I actually went to see this. My friends like dragged me along to this French movie called The Untouchables, which came out in like 2011. Okay. I didn't expect anything from it, and it was such a like uplifting, happy movie. 100% would recommend watching the French version of it with Omar Sy. It's really, really good. That's another one of my favorite movies that I just randomly got dragged to go and see. It's like, sure, why not? Let's go watch it. It's the worst that can happen.
When you can like stumble across like a really good book, movie, video game, whatever it is, without like knowing beforehand it's gonna be really good, and it turns out to be amazing, that's always like such a cool experience. My problem is that it happens so little for me that I'm often like, we were watching Sweet Tooth, the show, and we were on season 1, and we were like more like 3 episodes from the end, and we're like, this is like kind of good sometimes, but it also kind of sucks other times, because there's like kind of 2 different stories being played, and one of them really freaking cool and very interesting. The other storyline, it's like some Disney shit, and it's
Lord
like
of the Rings, dude.
It's Lord of the Rings that was made for kids. That's what it felt like, and I was like, this is super lame. I'm not really into this. And anyways, we stopped watching it. But then it's like, I just wasted 7 episodes waiting for this to get really good.
Sometimes you gotta risk it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta risk it. You'll find some gems.
My girlfriend and I tend to watch like comfort shows a lot, like watch shows that we know quite well. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Superstore have been go-tos recently, both very funny. Friends is another one we like. So we'll just like watch it on repeat, like even though we've seen it many, many times.
Oh, yeah.
And then sometimes we'll totally try something new, but kind of do a sprinkling of both.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So going back to my Christmas Eve, because I'm going to circle back to that note. Well, Christmas Eve. So my girlfriend is in the hospital and she's with our baby. But what I did was I knew where her room was. So what I did is at midnight, I drove outside of it and I told her to call and tell her to look out the window. And then I asked her to marry me. So we're getting married sometime in 2022.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? 2021's got to be we got to go out with a bang. So yeah, she was pretty thrilled about that. I've never been like a huge marriage person. I guess it's just like my parents were never married and they split up. So I guess, I don't know. But for her, she was like, her parents were married and marriage is like such a huge deal. And I was like, okay, she was going to love this for like right on Christmas.
Dills.
So we'll do that.
Okay, big moves from the man. Big moves.
I know. I bought myself like a few months of like a lot of brownie points because it's like straight from a movie. Like we couldn't be with each other.
The IRL group Iron Man. Nice work.
Yeah, exactly. And I had to be quick because I was parked in this special spot of the hospital that was only meant for donor transplants.
So you're gonna get.
So I was like, I got
into the donor section.
I was like, I got to be quick because some guy's gonna be needing a kidney, and they're gonna be like, we gotta wait for the tow truck to show up to move this car. Because this dude's trying to do something stupid. So anyways, that happened. Christmas Day, I get a phone call from her saying, guess what? The baby's coming home Christmas Day. So I was like, awesome, but also, holy shit, I don't have anything ready. I didn't do anything I was supposed to do because I spent all night watching Matrix and playing video games. So I had to scramble to get that done. So the baby's home now. And he's home here.
Looking healthy.
And he's doing really good. I'm so proud of him, but I hate him at the same time. He goes back and forth, but when he first came home, he was living that degen lifestyle.
2 ticking teaks.
Yeah, exactly. He's so proud of him, but he wasn't sleeping throughout the night. He was up all night, and I was like, I got no sleep 2 nights in a row. So what I did is I swapped my schedule around, and I went to bed at like 5 o'clock, and then I woke up at midnight. And then, of course, that's the night he sleeps like a baby throughout the night. But I got to, it was fun. I hopped on and I played RuneScape all night. Hopped on Discord and
beautiful.
We're doing that. So yeah, there we go. And then wrapping back up to the comfort shows. Whenever I'm feeding them, I make sure I'm watching Futurama or Simpsons, some sort of fun cartoon that I grew up with. And it's been like, it's very nostalgic, but I haven't really watched those shows in years. And it's like the whole new appreciation of those shows when you're an adult, and you can understand some of the more the different humor,
definitely,
to say the least. Yeah, so it's some pretty good stuff. I think we covered it. Yeah, you mentioned what you did on New Year's.
Yeah, pretty low key.
And of course, as we're recording this, we just finished bingo.
What a bingo it was, Bills.
Yeah, it was the biggest one, right? This was what? How many people signed up?
93 people sign up.
93 people. That is crazy.
Smashed our last. I think our last one was in the 60s. So this is 30% bigger, which I was not expecting, but it ended up turning out fantastically. So
I think it was good. Like the fear is always that you do a lot of the balancing of the teams.
There's a lot of fear around people they're not going to be balanced. They pretty much always are. It's such an impossible task, because I'm trying to balance, people's skill, how much time they're going to put in, what kind of money their account has plays a big part into what kind of methods you could do. Are you an Iron Man? Are you going to be in the voice chat? Because I wanted to make sure people got to, meet new friends and stuff like that. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Time zones, and we've thought about automating it before, but I think it's pretty much impossible to do. It would take a lot of work, and even then it wouldn't be it's not perfect science. Just have to think about it. And I don't know, they worked out, man. The teams were freaking close in the end to winning. Oh, it was close. I think 5 teams were 3 points apart at the end of the bingo. And the team that came last wasn't even that far behind, the only reason they looked far behind was because they hadn't completed a couple of rows, and that's really it.
Right, the rows are super deceiving.
Because they just if you don't complete the rows, you don't get the extra bonus points. So they really weren't even that far behind. They only had a few tiles missing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it worked out really well, man. I think bumping up to almost 15 people per team made a huge difference, because that way, if there were a few no-shows, it wouldn't make a huge impact. But during the first bingo, we only had 5 or 6 people on each team because only 25 people signed up. So if one person is missing, there goes 20% of your team's effort, which made it quite difficult. But of course, the board has been getting increasingly better, and we're learning each time. So
yeah, it's crazy. And of course, also have to give a shout out to Weiss, who was helping doing the bingo. I call it the bingo support team. So kind of working on the background to give out updates, because teams are kind of separated from each other. You can't really tell what teams are doing it. And he was able to put together his own little stats. I don't know what the hell he did, but he was able to grab all these stats automatically. And so we pull out all these crazy numbers. So I just want to say something, because I was that's friggin' insane. And then you fact check it, and you're holy shit.
Script to pull data from Wise Old Man, and he was tracking people's all sorts of things, boss KCs, efficient hours, basically starting at the beginning of bingo. So we call him Weasel Man at this point. For those of you who don't know, Wise Old Man is a stats tracker that tracks efficient hours bossed and can track KCs. It's a really cool statistical tool for RuneScape players. So go and look yourself up on there if you want to see how many efficient hours you've bossed. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Or played. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff there for sure. But yeah, at the end of the event, he had posted that an estimated 4.2 billion gold was generated from the event between all the teams.
4.2 bill. That's nuts.
That's crazy. That's almost a bill per team.
800 mil per team, which is insane.
That's wacky. And of course, a total of over 2,208. And I think those are bossing hours. So people
efficient bossing hours. So that means that means if you can maximally kill, I don't know, 80 DKs per hour, then that's what it's recording. So people went freaking hard. And of course, it depends on whether you're an Iron Man or not. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
It is crazy. And that's not even on top of how much the teams who won. What team won?
Team 4 ended up pulling out the win. Yeah, they
Wow.
they managed to get a corner tile, I believe. I don't know which one. The corner tiles were quite hard. It kind of came down to who was able to get sort of four main difficult tiles. Arcane Prayer Scroll was quite tough because it's very specific and raids take a long time to do. Revenant's Weapon or Amulet was a hard tile. And obviously Draconic Visage was a hard tile. And then sort of two harder ones were Staff of the Dead from Krill, which is like a 1 in 500. So that's a lot of Zammy to kill. And then Ray's Weapon as well was quite difficult. But I think they had managed to get basically everything except for Revs and Visage. So they ended up pulling out the W there.
Wow, that's crazy. I was watching it from the sidelines and I was able to see what every team was doing. And Heartless, I thought your team was going to win it.
Man.
I was like 2 days ago, I was like, Heartless's team has got it. And then next thing you know, we watched just every team just start shredding tiles on the last day. It was insane.
We came out so hot. Like the amount of tiles we'd completed in 2 or 3 days was like 15 tiles. And then it just slowed. Then we hit Sarachnis still. Did you see what we did to Sarachnis?
Oh, no. I saw the D medium king.
No.
Is that what? Is that
so
a Sarachnis?
Cudgel was one of the tiles. It's a medium level boss. Supposed to be a pretty easy tile. 1 in 384, I think, for this. Actually, I know it's 103. 1 in 384. I looked at the wiki many times to make sure it existed. Okay. I think our team killed well over 2,000, something like 2,200 Sarachnis to get the Cudgel across our team. Huge shout out to the Bingo Bells, Team 5. For the Sarachnis grind. And a huge shout out to Doormat, by the way, on his Iron Man. The poor guy did 650 or something Sarachnis KC. He started at 0 KC, did 650. Got nothing to show for it except some spider's eggs.
Those are what?
The man wasn't doing it with a scythe. So. He was doing it with a dragon mace, no less. So.
Oh, the D maze, the throwback to the Heroes Quest days.
It was fun though. Like, we went dry, but it was fun to see. Like, people were duoing Sarachnis, and then 4 other people were sending solo Sarachnis. Yeah, it was awesome. Time.
Yeah, it's good. It's I'm watching everyone has their own separate voice channel, and you'd see them all packed with people. And which is really cool. At the end of the day,
for me, bingo is not about winning. It's just about having a good time and meeting new friends. And I think every team accomplished that this time. And again, I can't wait for the next bingo, which will, for those of you out there who are interested, it's going to be like late March, early April, which means when I have some time to set it up, basically, which will be around there. So
yeah, just around the corner.
That's right.
Yeah, it's got to be based on people hanging out, not so much like tiles being completed, because RNG is such a pain. It
is a big part of it. But you get to do new group bossing. There's always stuff to try. So I'm a huge fan of bingo, and once again, just this time was an absolute blast, and I made some new friends, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, can't wait for the next one.
That's
bingo
in the end.
Guessed there were going to be 7 pets. I think we got 12 pets in the clan. In a week.
Wow. Yeah, there was one on day 2. I don't think there was one on day 1, but I think one on
there was one on day 1 actually.
I don't know.
2 Temporos pets.
Wow.
And
sleeping.
Phoenix.
I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. And there may have even been 4. And then there was a couple squirrels that dropped. I actually got a pet too, Dills.
Oh, is it a duplicate?
I got a second little Zik from Theater of Blood. A little bit sad, but especially since a lot of my friends are going for the pet, so I would have rather they got it, but that's just the way it goes.
Yep, that's the way she goes sometimes. So bingo, great success. Keep your eyes out for the next one for spring sometime. Yeah, that's some good stuff. So, yes, you've been busy with bingo. Anything else you want to touch on before we kind of take a look back on 2021?
I don't think I got any cool drops. I got so many dupes during bingo. It was like Armadyl Chestplate, Staff of the Dead. I was just doing whatever we needed to do for the team. No, I think that's pretty much it, dude. We should get right into the updates. Well, Dills,
before we get into the updates,
there is one story I have to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Something I got during bingo. It is a dupe. So, as you know, I'm out of Slayer points, and I talk about Turiel skipping quite a bit. Turiel gives you a bunch of bullshit monsters to kill. So you kill one, and then you lunars to talk to the Slayer Master that you actually want to get a task from, and then you just reset your task to 0 with Turiel. So instead of doing the task and saving points, you basically just have no points ever. And if you don't want to do the task, you just go kill 20 crawling hands or whatever Turiel assigns you. And there's a whole setup on We Do Raids so that you can smash or the gear Discord so that you can efficiently teleport to anything that he gives you. It's really cool. So you can get 20 tasks per hour if you're quite quick. And I was just killing cave crawlers, which happened to be one of the things that Turiel can assign you. So in the Relica Slayer Cave, Superior pops out. Chasm Crawler. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know these guys had superiors. And of course, kill it, and and it drops an imbued heart for me.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ! That's and the imbued heart only comes from those superior Slayer monsters, but I think it scales on how high that Slayer monster is.
Yeah,
right?
So it's more common from a thermonuclear smoke devil, which I believe is the highest one, or the Hydra, and then. Chasm Crawler, it's nothing. I think it's 1 in 1,300 to get it. So that's my second time hitting the unique table, and both times I've gotten imbued hearts. Extremely lucky.
That is crazy.
It was quite a shocking moment for sure. So, yep. It was good times though. So anyways, that was my bingo story.
Is that rough? That's pretty sweet. It's one of those weird feelings where you're super lucky.
It's kind of cool, sure, I would have liked a gem, but I mean, it's not even that useful. It was just fun to see. True. It's just kind of a hilarious RuneScape story that I won't forget. Yeah,
RuneScape's all about the journey, and that's it's part of the journey.
Do tutorial tasks, boys. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it is a good lesson to even though it is lucky to unlock bigger and badder first. Especially if you're an Iron Man. You want as many chances at that heart as you can get, because it is stupidly rare. Ooh. But with next coming out, there's going to be new magic potions, so it's going to be less important than it is now. So looking forward to that.
Well,
it's always nice, but at least there's going to be kind of a better stopgap than the shitty magic potions.
Yeah. You got one you can bring to Scorpia if you ever want to risk it.
Problem is, it's so expensive, it just always protects over everything, so I wouldn't even want to do that.
Boy.
So shall we get into our yearly wrap up?
Let's do a yearly wrap up. Let's play the little news sounder just to break things up. And because I like the little sound effects. Yeah, so we mentioned it at the start, I'm pretty sure at least. So we're not going to quite go over what Jagex has talked about recently. Instead, we're going to take a look back on 2021. And normally what we've done in the past is we would kind of look at we would do our old school RuneScape resolutions, but we would look back on the year before and kind of see how we did with them. Usually it wasn't very good. Actually, it depends. Deegan, who was on the show years before, he would always smash his. I never did too well with mine. But Heartless, I went back to listen to ours, and I don't think we did a New Year's resolution last year. It was kind of a weird year for the podcast.
Yeah, it was weird.
No, we did a bunch of fan mail because we were so behind on it, and we just kind of shot the shit. So we didn't quite get to do that, but that's all right. When you look back on 2021 for your account, what comes to mind, I guess? How does it, what do you reflect upon?
It was an insane year for my account, without a doubt.
Would you say it's the biggest since?
Yeah, it's been the biggest year. So I started the year with a rune crossbow, a dragon hunter lance, a blowpipe, and I don't know what else. Basically nothing. I had rigor, I think, and I had dragon warhammer. So I was just off Zulrah and Hydra grind. I obviously ended with an Ellie and an infernal cape and a twisted bow. So things went pretty well for me. Obviously got very lucky, but I also did put hundreds of hours efficient bossing in.
Sure. And an item like the Ellie is that's a giant wild card. People can go thousands without it, and it's so hard to kill.
Game irons, if you go and watch them on Twitch that have 10 bill banks or whatever that don't have Ellies because they're so rare. So yeah, I think that was the biggest one for sure. It also came quite early. It came in April or something. Which was really nice. And then obviously the Tebow with the omelet was another highlight. Absolutely RNG fest.
Game,
and then sort of my hard work kind of paid off as well in October with the Infernal Cape grind, which basically took a whole month.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that. well, I enjoyed the feeling of getting the cape. Being stuck there was not the best, but yeah. So there's like 3 huge accomplishments. So I'm pretty happy with where my account is right now. And I realized,
so probably a very big PVM
I
focused
realized
year,
this year that like
it?
I am just a dirty PVMer. I don't do anything to do with skilling. I'm not even 2200 total yet. So I do have some skilling goals this year, but whenever I'm skilling deals, I'm just like, I should be bossing. I don't want to be here. But I do have some, I have my goals listed, and there is some skilling in there. So we shall see. I believe my goals for last year, and I remember writing them down in the Discord, were complete God Wars dungeon and get 2200 total. So I didn't technically complete God Wars dungeon because I didn't get the hilt, but I basically did. I got all the useful items. And I did. I also completed. I did not get 2200 total, but I did get a bunch of other stuff. So I'd say it was successful for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. That's pretty cool. When I look back on kind of my account, it was, I guess, kind of a weird year. 2022. When I think of it, of the year that I didn't really play RuneScape, and there was a big hiatus in the podcast. 2021, is the year I got back into RuneScape. And I started playing it a lot again, and I play it every day, all the time now. And yeah, I don't think I didn't do a whole lot of PVMing. I really feel like I was rounding off a bunch of my things on my account. So I got a lot of skills to 99. I got, my fishing's 98. About 500k, 299, but that's pretty close. I got 99 fire making, 99 wood cutting, 99 farming. I got 99 rune crafting, which was a big one. And then I also grinded out my thieving to 91 so that I could do I can finish off my diaries now, which I still haven't because I need to get the Calphite Queen head. But besides that, not a whole lot of progress. My bank barely moved up in value because I did a big Tebow rebuild before, and I got a lot of those items back, but it's still sitting at like I've only made like 200 mil over the year, which isn't a whole lot for an end game account, especially for how much I've been playing. But
yeah, but you've been hard. It's like we're almost opposites. Like you've been hard skilling, and I've been hard PVMing.
Yeah, and especially now that I'm like working from home, it allows me to skill on the side, like do rune crafting, do wood cutting, whatever it is. So yeah, I did actually hit 2200 total level before the new year, which was nice. I've been kind of wanting to get that for a while, kind of open up the last of the limit world restricted or level restricted worlds, so I can go there, which is cool. But yeah, so it wasn't super eventful. A lot of the things were just like time sinks, not so much like being good at the game or anything. Yeah, so it's kind of when I look back on my account, it's just kind of rounding off a bunch of skills and a lot of AFKing too.
A lot more of that to come with the baby.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's funny. He feeds every 3 hours, although sometimes if he wakes up, sometimes it's every 2 hours, depending on just what he's feeling. So I was doing some raids and stuff, and I was like, okay, it's been an hour and 45 minutes since he last fed. Like I got 15 minutes for sure. And then there's about an hour. That's just he's a time bomb. He could just go off and then.
Yeah, it's tough to do PVM when you do that, Yeah, you can't just.
Yeah, there was I was doing Zarpus with one hand as I was like consoling him with his little soother.
With that being said, do you have 2022 goals in mind?
Okay, maybe next
year,
I think.
Of course, if we're still running, fingers crossed, we can. You never know with the Wilderness Podcast deals. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
We could look back and see how we did on them.
Yeah, no, so I guess I could start off with the resolutions then, since you've asked. Usually my resolutions for like the past 3 years have always been like, I don't want to complete the Inferno, but I want to start doing the Inferno. And that's like I kind of want to say that again. Every year I've been like way off, but this year I am very close. I really just need a Kodai wand and I'm ready to hop into the Inferno in terms of like having the level of gear that I want before I start doing it. So it's just really a Kodai wand. All that being said, I'm working towards D-Claws first so I can do Fasani's Nightmare. That's kind of my first goals. But well, I want to round off a few more of my skills. So I want to get 99 prayer, finally finish that off. I want to get through some of the more AFKable skills. So crafting, mining, smithing, maybe herb lore. I'll definitely have my agility leveled up because agility is my podcasting skill. When we record a podcast, I'm doing agility. So that's the only time I ever train it. And so, yeah, leveling off some skills. I don't care too much about maxing those, so I'll get there when I get there. But I want to be... I want to start just being better at like PVM content. I want to start running it more. Like I've done Theater of Blood. I'm not very good at it. I've done Chambers of Zarek a bunch, but I've never done challenge modes and haven't even really thought about stepping in there. I can try to do Fasani's Nightmare, but I can't complete it because it's friggin' tough. So it would be nice to be able to be more confident in my PVMing abilities. So, you know, being able to go into raids 3, but being allowed on a team that's like, yeah, Dills is going to carry his weight here, and we might, you know, we'll see how far we can progress instead of just being like an anchor for a team. So I think that's where I kind of think about it. I want to accumulate enough gold that I'm actually building off. I'm getting like a more end game bank. So right now my Twisted Bow is like, that's a really expensive weapon and a really good weapon to have. But that's like it. I don't have a scythe. I don't have any Inquisitors. I don't have any Ancestrals.
End game bank?
Like just having like a lot of the, I guess, current end game armors. So having, full Ancestrals on top of having a Twisted Bow and having a scythe, maybe having Justy just because you just have it for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe having Inquisitors.
I think when you have a scythe, a Twisted Bow, and all the main armors, and like Dragon Claws, like all the main PVM gear, and you're working towards stuff like Inquisitors, I'd say that's end game bank. Everyone has a different opinion on what it is. But that's... Yeah,
like I wouldn't consider Torva when it comes out, or any of the Tombs of a Masket gear, whatever that's going to be. I wouldn't consider that being part of the end game bank, only because like how much harder that will be to achieve in 2022 alone. So yeah, that's where I'm thinking for 2022. What about you? You kind of hit off a lot of... I feel like you checked off a lot of boxes for your account this year.
Did.
Like, yeah. What do you think is next?
A year's a long way to think. I assume I still love this game, so I'm still going to play lots. So I've kind of set out some main goals, some skill and some PVM. So I guess we'll start with the skilling because it's more boring. If that's fair with you, we will start. So I want to get 99 construction. That's like a must-have for me. I want that like sooner rather than later. So that's what I say is number one. I definitely want to get 2200 total. I'm really close. So I know I'm going to get it for sure. And then I think I would like to get 99 in one of the big 3 dreaded skills. So either rune crafting, agility, or mining.
Okay.
I don't want to max this year. I probably could max if all I did was work towards maxing, like did nothing else. Sure. It would take a lot of work, but I think I could do it.
Fun.
I don't think it'd be fun though. So I'm just gonna maybe that's like more of a 2-year plan than a 1-year plan. So to help myself out with that in the future, I think it'd be nice to get one of those shit skills out of the way with. And I have a feeling it's going to be mining, because I'm going to do a lot of amethyst mine because it's so good for PVMing.
Right, yeah, just having those darts available,
and the arrows as well. So, which leads me into my side sort of the PVM, which is a lot more exciting. So, my main goal for this year is to get full Inquisitors with a mace. Yep,
nice. Okay,
it is a big one, but I think I'm going to absolutely fall in love with Fasani's Nightmare, which is kind of why I'm putting it off right now, because I'm not ready for it. I'm going to be ready for it at some point, though.
Yeah, I've died 60 times there, and it's still pretty exciting to go in. So
that's number one for me. Next, sort of, I haven't put it in because I don't really know, or Tombs of Masket, I don't really know what to expect from them. So those like may change. If next is like grindable for irons and stuff, then that may become. I'd probably do that before Inquisitors, but I still really want to get the mace specifically. It's such a good item. So that's sort of my main goal, and then I have kind of side projects. So the first one is getting a scythe, because it would complete the Holy Trinity for me. Not really
Yeah,
content
true.
I like to grind, like other content. I can't just do it straight. So that's why I call it a side project. Like I'll top when I'm feeling like it or my friends want to. And then hopefully if I get, maybe I can hit, maybe 800 rate sobs this year, then that would double my KC. Then hopefully I'll be able to pull a scythe, but we'll see about that one. It's also not a huge deal to me. Like I definitely want one, but it's not like game breaking at this point. It will be if I ever start to like pet hunt, but for now, if I did have one, I'd basically use it for hard modes and challenge, which I don't do a whole lot of, or I don't do any hard modes. So that's goal number 1 for side project. Side project number 2 is to get the dust from challenge modes so I can dust up my omelet. Once again, that's like another one. I'll just do them when I feel like it. I'm at 50 challenge mode right now. It's 1 in 400. And those are either I do them solo quite a lot, or I do them duo with Poplo, and I'm convincing Weeznaw to come and duo with them with me. So hopefully we can get back on our nightly rating and get 1 or 2 of those in. It's content that you don't really want to grind. It takes like a good hour to get a solo in, and you have to be uninterrupted basically. Right. So it's quite draining. So I don't think I'm going to do a ton of those, but that's kind of like that's why I call it a side project. It's not necessarily needs to be finished, but it's on my list. And then the third side project is to get a Revenant's weapon. A good Revenant's. Oh, Dills, I forgot to mention, I got a Revenant's weapon from,
Oh, that's exciting.
Fucking scepter. The Thamron scepter. I didn't get it during bingo. I got it like the week before. Deeply disappointing. Actively useless. Has no uses.
They have to buff it so it's charged like Tridents and the Sang Staff. They have to. I don't know why they
almost certainly will, and then it would actively be really quite good at Scorpia. So it would make grinding for the Scorpia. Yeah, so exactly. I'm happy to have it. Don't get me wrong. Like certainly they're going to change it. Maybe even when the new Revs boss comes out. But it can only go up because it's pretty shit right now.
I'm surprised it's worth. How much is it worth? Let's see. Yeah. Who the hell? Who's buying that?
I think it's just because it's rare. That's all. Or maybe speculation. It's hard to say. It doesn't even look that cool.
Yeah, true.
So anyways, I do have a Revs weapon. But what I mean by a Revs weapon is I would like to get one of the good Revs weapons. So either a Vigor's Chainmace or a crossbow. And that'd be my third side project. So Inquisitors will be the main goal. And then the rest of them are sort of things I'll work on. I'll also work towards a Blade of Saildor. I'd like to get that back at some point. So there's lots of PVM to be done, of course. And you know me, I like to grind PVM, so we'll get into it. And then we'll see where I am next year. Maybe I'd be in a more position where I'd want to try maxing. Because I think my end goal is to basically get all the items at some point. Not every single one, but most of the useful ones I'd like to get. So that's kind of what determines my goals. Yeah. So lots to do, lots of hours to spend. And if I don't complete it, that's totally fine. It's just nice to have lofty goals to work towards, in my opinion, because it keeps me motivated to grind and makes me enjoy the game. So
PVMing is different. I look at maxing or skilling in general the same way I kind of look at making an iron. And it's that if you jump on it now, you can get grinding, you'll make more progress the earlier you start, of course. But if you wait, the longer you don't skill or don't do an iron, that just means that there's possibly, well, in the case of an iron, there most definitely will be more content to do when you start either skilling or playing an iron. So I'm not in a huge rush to max because I hate doing agility. I hate doing mining, blah, 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 blah. There's all these skills that I don't really have fun doing, and I'll do them when I'm podcasting or working. But inevitably, we're going to have new ways to train those skills that hopefully are fun. And then, if you already have 99, it won't be as fun to do it as it would if you were level 70 and you're doing the new hunting mini game thing.
I see what you mean. You don't want to miss out on that content, but you can always experience it on another account.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't really worry about it. And at the end of the day, if you're maxing, you usually just want to do the best method. You don't really... if it's reasonably not too click intensive, 2 taking granite or whatever, 3 taking granite, then it's better to just do the best XP because you just want to get to max, right? That's kind of your goal. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Well, with that being said, what do you say we kind of look back on 2021? We kind of look at how this year kind of went. Spoiler alert, it's a bit of a stinker. But yeah, we kind of do this every year. We didn't do it last year, but normally we would kind of look back on the past year and we kind of make up. We do a little fun little survey that we'll send to everybody to see what their favorite thing was in X category. So I kind of went through every update and I kind of saw some trends and made some categories. So these are the categories we're going to go through. The best major update. So this is just like a major release of content, which is very subjective, but the reason I say that is because the next category is the best PVM update. So I kind of separated the two because we didn't get too much PVM content. And a lot of it, I didn't really consider it to be a major release in content. But yeah, we'll get into that in a second. And then of course, there's best PvP update. Not a whole lot there either, but they try. So we try to talk about it. Best new quest. We got a few of these. And with that, best new area, which is a new category. We haven't had that one before, but we had some few areas that are kind of cool. Best pet that was released. And this counts for like transmogs and recolors. And then there's best rework, because when I was going through it, I saw that there was a lot of reworked content that kind of happened. We have best quality of life update. Favorite in-game event of the year. So these are things that happen that you can actually play and do. And then there's favorite out-of-game event, which is things that we can like watch or read about or participate outside of the game. And then we have most anticipated 2022 update, which we got a lot of. Hopefully it lives up to it, because I think 2022 is going to be the year of old school RuneScape if everything that they've been talking about actually happens. And then finally, this is my favorite category. It's the best drama. We used to call it the best controversy, but best drama, it kind of opens it a little bit more because there is a lot of drama in this game.
We're lacking content, we make up for in drama.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there have been some big ones this year, but yeah, not as much as some of the other years. So it's been kind of quiet on a lot of different fronts. All right, so we'll start off with the first category, which is the best major update. So we have 4 contestants for this one. The first one is the Shooting Stars update, which is kind of these are these weird timed events, kind of I was going to say random events, but they're not really random. They kind of happen every 2 hours. But a shooting star will land somewhere in Gielinor, and then you can go mine it, where you get Stardust. You can get a ring that will help you mine. You can recolor your prospector's outfit.
The fact that this Shooting Stars is considered a major update is about to tell you what's going to go down here.
So what are your thoughts on the shooting? Actually, here, let me start this one off, because my thoughts of the Shooting Star update is that it's kind of boring content. If you go to a Shooting Star, there's a good chance you'll be either alone or maybe with like 1, maybe 2 people. And it's very AFK, but the rewards suck. The recolor for the prospector is boring. The boots are already gold, so you retrim them gold, and not the boots. The helmet is already gold, so when you trim it gold, because that's what the recolor is, it's a gold trimmed prospector. It just is like a slightly brighter gold color. So anyways, pretty lame. The ring is good, but you'll get that real quick.
And out, 1 star, in and out. Got the ring, and I was done.
So the thing that I think is cool is that when the Shooting Star lands, it looks really neat. You can see it dropping. It kind of has a shadow that expands, and what I think is really cool is that a lot of people stumble across it and they go like, "What the fuck is this?" A lot of the times when I was mining, somebody would walk past and be like, "What the hell? I've never seen this before. Why is this here? And why this appears after a bit?" So I love the idea of these random things spawning or popping up around the world. I think it's really immersive in a way, and it makes things exciting. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the content. What are your thoughts of Shooting Star? I think you already summed it up in like one word earlier. But,
I mean, it's good. It's fine. Yeah,
let's hear
it's fine. It's just not. It's not major. It's a tiny little update that. Yeah. It serves a purpose in the game. It's pretty cool. Adds a new good ring. Adds a whatever recolor. The actual content is fine, because if you let's say you work at home all day, you can just scout with some pen and paper on a notepad on the side, and then you can just go to the mines, and your dude can just be mining while you're actively working on the side. Then that's great. And I know a lot of people do that. For someone like me who sits down and, like, let's say I have 3 hours to play, and for the first hour I'm going to do some skilling and I want to do some mining. Well, I can't do it because I have to scout the mines. I have to scout the stars ahead. I don't want to go to like a mass world because then it won't be there for very long. So you ideally want to scout one by yourself, and it just doesn't really work for people like me. So personally, not a huge fan of it, but it's definitely serves a purpose. But yeah, hilarious that it's major.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah,
what
it's nice
it
to have
is.
an option for like AFK mining for sure, pre-Amethyst. But I mean, these kind of updates should be coming out far more frequently than they are. They're not very game impacting and not very exciting.
Yeah. It's a very small one, very minor. I had one cool experience with it, which was when it was released, everyone was rushing to do it. And it was really cool to see a lot of people rushing to a star. So you'd find a star first. First off, you get your little announcement to yourself that says you were the first one to find it. And then you'd see 10 people spawn up. But what was really cool was when it would land in the wilderness, because it has a chance of landing in the wild. It was really cool on day one to see just like a flood of people rushing to the star in the wild. And you would have a bunch of PKers, and it was like, it's like the lion attacking water buffalo. I watched a video recently about water buffalo and lions, but you'd have like 3 lions and there'd be like 1,000 water buffalo, and there's just like power in numbers. They're like, you know what? It's a 0.001% chance that I'm going to die. So even though I know there's going to be 10 of us that die, there's a small chance it's going to be me. So that's what it reminded me doing the shooting star in the wild. Because people were like, okay, there's PKers here. I don't really care because they're probably going to kill somebody else and not kill me. Anyway, a lot of fun. People would actually bring DDSs, and then all the skillers would spec out some of the PKers. That was funny, pretty cool. So yeah, that happened day one, and that will never happen again because now nobody does them. So you'll find the shooting star in the wild. You'll be all by yourself, and there'll be no PKers even looking for you. So there's number one. Number two, much more anticipated, was announced at, I want to say, 2019's RuneFest. We finally got it this year, which was the clan system overhaul, where they completely reworked the clan system itself. And allowed us to move from the friends chat to this new clan system where people could apply and become official members. There's a clan hall involved. There was all these new rankings you could add. You were able to have these notifications in chat for like people completing quests or getting levels and skills or getting a certain threshold for some loot. So you can see somebody get like a scythe. If somebody got it from Theater of Blood, you would see it in the chat, which is really cool. So yeah, this was moving on from the friends chat. They were talking about this for a while, and now that it finally came here, what are your thoughts on the clan system being introduced this year?
Yeah, I really like it. I especially like the adjustments they made when you could broadcast. I like the broadcasting quite a lot.
Right, that wasn't on release, was it?
On release, it was It was like super underwhelming. I still think overall it's an underwhelming update. It could be so much more. We need so much more control over like thresholds. For example, like the questing. Like I do like that certain quests are broadcast. Like, when people beat Song of the Elves or Dragon Slayer 2, or maybe some of the iconic ones like Monkey Madness, it's cool to let the clan know. But we don't need to know when someone completes Haziel Cult or, Cook's Assistant or, Wanted, or like there's so many garbage quests, it doesn't really matter. So I wish we just had some more like customization. Same thing for levels, and sweet when people get like level 90, level 95, level 99. It's great to see people getting those levels in the chat. But I wish we had some customization, like, oh, why can't we have it so when someone hits 92 mining, they get a GZ because that means Amethyst. We don't like a milestone. You got 55 cooking, like whatever. Respect to you out there grinding cooking, but I just wish we had more customization.
Yeah, I totally get that. And even the system is is really dumb, kind of, because if you go into the settings, there is the setting to it's called tradable loot broadcasts. Let me pull it up here exactly. Yeah, it's called loot broadcast, and then it says notifications when a clan member receives a tradable loot from a monster drop. Right. So for bingo, we turned it off because we wanted it to be a secret for when people got these big items for their tiles. So yeah, we turned it off completely. But another announcement you get is when people when people obtain a pet, and pets aren't tradable. So you would expect it to be separate from the tradable loot broadcasts, but guess what? It's not. You have to have tradable loot broadcast turned on for pets to be announced, which is really dumb because that's like a completely different thing.
Mutagens and like twisted kits and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of silly, but it's bare bones in a lot of ways. And going back to your quest thing, it's funny because we were talking about this before, and there's a lot of quests I don't care about. A lot of the mid-level quests, Haziel Cult. Actually, I do like that quest because there's 2 paths you can choose that give unique rewards. But generally, it's a very underwhelming quest. You don't really get much from it. The rewards are kind of shit. It doesn't matter what path you choose. But I get really excited when I see someone completing Cook's Assisting. I'm like, yo, you haven't done Cook's Assisting
maybe
yet?
That's fun then. So, but at least customize, right? Because do we really want to give like a half-hearted GZ when someone beats like, Clock Tower?
It does
gets
get
a little bit repetitive and old.
Yeah.
And it's cool for the people. Yeah.
It gets a little awkward when like somebody does this like lower level thing and it's like, are we committed to saying GZ every time someone does something? But you also feel rude if you don't say anything because you just gave this guy who got 70 mining a GZ. What about the dude who just completed Monkey Madness 1? Do you give him a GZ?
Yeah, the GZs are a fine line. I think we should consult GZ Space the Iron Man on this one. He might be the one to ask.
Our congratulatory pro or expert. So, overall, you're happy with it, but you said it's a little underwhelming, eh? Yeah. I'm about the same. And the fact that it took so long, it made this really awkward thing where a lot of people are, they might be cemented in a friends chat. When that friends chat moves over to a clan, and then, maybe somebody's listening to a certain podcast from months and months and years ago that is constantly advertising their clan chat, which is now a friends chat. And you're constantly having people messaging you being like, yo, what happened to the friends chat? Did the clan die? And you have to be like, no, this update happened. We all moved over to a clan called this.
You want to cue the music for a second?
Oh,
it's been a while.
Oh, how exciting! On the New Year's special
with the clan system coming out in August. I guess it was August, right? They've been doing lots of tweaks to it, especially one that came recently in December. Do you remember when they added the group Iron Man? And now there are like 4 or 5 different ways to slash your chat.
Yeah.
What if when next comes out, one of the mechanics is that you have to change between chats while fighting the boss?
Oh my god.
And that's the reason they introduced the clan system. People speculating about spectral spirit shields or Ellie's or whatever. I think it's going to come down to the slashes.
You know those games where it's like training you to type and it's like you have these zombies coming at you and you have to type dog and then it kills the zombie and
exactly, that's what I'm saying. But people, the real mechanic is going to be figuring out, do I go 3 slashes or 4 slashes? Because there's going to be, there's going to be some guy in the corners first time at next. He's hard locked in the clan chat and he can't type in public and he gets one shot. So I can see it happening.
Horrific. And you're like, dude, it was 5 slashes to talk in the next party.
No, you have to
4
press
slashes. That's the group Iron Man.
P to get back to the public chat, and people are just gonna be dropping like flies. I can't wait for day one.
Yeah. And then you're trying to talk shit and it accidentally goes into the public chat. And you have to hard log.
And then you log into the group. I think group Iron Man might get an advantage when it comes to it because they have an extra chat open. Oh, who knows? Could get out of control, man. I'm telling you.
Sketch. We kind of have that with Chambers of Zarek. You don't have to type, but you do have to switch and make sure the game chat is open when they shoots the orb at you. There's a few times I have the clan open.
That was that.
Oh god,
let's move on. What's the next update?
Right. Next update is, and this is in no particular order, but the next major update is combat achievement tasks. They released, it was basically the achievement diaries that you can do for doing just random things in different locations in RuneScape in general. I was going to say Gielinor, but they also released the Zaya achievement diaries, or the Great Krend, whatever. But this is specifically for doing PVM, not just PVM, but mostly PVM stuff. So, killing Seracnus 50 times, or killing Zulrah, but doing it in X amount of time, or, the speed. There's doing it like, there's a room in Theater of Blood where it's like, kill this boss without using the dragon warhammer or something like that. So stuff like that. You have all these different tasks, and then they unlock these different rewards. Like you can get this hilt, allows you to teleport straight to God Wars, and you can get less kill count required to go into God Wars. So nothing major, but little things there. And of course, there's some Slayer helmet recolors, which are now these major flex items similar to the Inferno cape. And this was highly anticipated by a lot of people. So this has been out. It's been out for a while now. Yeah, what do you think when you look back on it? And what do you think in comparison to what you were looking forward to? Like the week before combat achievements, and now you look at yourself now.
Combat achievements, and I was deeply disappointed with it. I think who it serves are the super end game players who want to have more things to do and chase these, albeit cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it is as someone who has been dragged by Poplo, who's currently working on the Grandmasters, through a bunch of like speed times and CMs. Like, I did have a blast doing them, but I think he, for an example, is the kind of player who really benefits from an update like the combat achievements. You know, someone who might be grinding towards one of those Slayer helm recolors, because the actual rewards for the difficulty involved with them is not worth it for the majority of players in the game. I think it's kind of a super end game thing, you know, along with like pet hunting and stuff like that. And yeah, it's cool, but it was highly anticipated, and for that reason, I would declare it extremely disappointing. Yeah, I get into my God Wars dungeon 2KC earlier. The Gommel's Hilt is quite a good reward. Don't get me wrong, but as soon as you hit the hard tier, you don't really need to do any more than that unless you want to get those flex items. So for that reason, it's really only affects the endest of end game players, and so overall, if their goal was for this to be fun for everyone, I think they failed miserably.
I totally get what you're saying. I personally thought this was going to be more fun than it was. And now that I've got it, I rarely do it. If I'm bored and I want to do something, I might go kill Sarachnis 15 times to get close to my 50 kill count. Or, you know, I have a gargoyle task, so I might try to do the perfect method. But some of them are, super hard, and I don't know. For me, maybe not quite fun to kind of grind towards.
When you're in the position to grind,
I get what you're saying.
For like Master and Grandmaster, you're going for that, like, Jad or whatever, the Jad helm for elites. What is it? Master, you get the Zik helm from Theater of Blood, and then the final one, obviously, the Zuck helm. Like, it's only for the nichest of niche players who actively will be able to do this and have fun going for it, or even have the skill to do some of these tasks, or the friends to do it. Like, a bunch of them, the hardest part of the Grandmaster is honestly getting a group of people together to do the perfect Theater of Blood. Like, that shit is insane, Dills. There's some really hard ones. Like, a lot of them require, end game friends to do them with you, which could be a way to make friends, but like we were saying, this is not an update for the people.
For the faint of heart.
Not for the majority.
Now, I agree. I think it puts the game in an awkward position, or Jagex, because I'm curious what they're going to do, right? So we have the Jad helmet, I think, that's the hard tier, right? No, that's the elite tier. And then you have the Verzik helmet, that's the master tier. And then the Zuck helmet for the Grandmaster, right? Now, I think they put themselves in an awkward position by putting Theater of Blood recolor in there, because now what happens when the Tomb of Amasket comes out? Do you just not give a Tomb of Amasket recolor? Do you what do you like? What
I mean, there's no
why is Theater of Blood
one came from leagues? So
yeah, that one's separate, which so it gets this weird position where, like, okay, the Olm recolor isn't a flex really, because you can just buy it. The Zik is kind of a flex. The Tomb of Amasket, it's an art. I don't know what it's a lottery, because maybe you just get it from as a reward. I don't know. It's this weird position that I'm curious what they're going to do with it. Are they going to tackle on, is it going to be like the Quest Cape, where every new boss, now these people who have all the achievement tasks done, they now lose access to the helmet until they grind?
I mean, much of the end game is cosmetics. You're either a lot of end game people go for mutagens for their Slayer helms, which is basically just getting KC at Zulrah until you get it. a lot of people go for, now these combat achievements can be added to that. A lot of people go for pets, which at the end of the day are just cosmetic ways to show that you've been grinding. And this is just another version of that, which is fine for those people. But I think there needs to be a little bit more done for sort of the general population.
Yeah. Yep. So next we have Temperos, which is a skilling boss similar to Winter Todd. It is very similar to Winter Todd in a lot of ways, except that it is for fishing. It's for fishing and cooking. Similar to how Winter Todd is for fire making and wood cutting and maybe fletching. I don't know, whatever one you want to pick. So yeah, it's pretty similar. There's a new pet that's involved. You get a new recolor for your anglers. You can get some fishing equipment. So you get like a tackle box where you can put a bunch of fishing items away. You get a fish barrel, which allows you to store fish into it. So if you're wanting to AFK anglers longer, you have an extra, I don't know, like 27 spots for it. Now this was an update.
Possibly, in my opinion, the only real update was Substance of the whole year. Temperos. One that can be loved by all people. Like, whether or not it's your cup of tea, a lot of people do like Temperos, and it's had a lasting impact on the game, both Iron and Main. It's a different way to fish. It's fun. Do you like Temperos, Dills?
I do. It's not like fun, but it's fun.
It's
you know what I mean?
Different.
Like,
it's not clicking on the fishing spot. There's a little bit more to it. The rewards are really sweet. The Tome of Water, though it may have failed, it's still a cool idea. The cosmetic upgrade to the angler outfit, which helps you inside the minigame itself, is a great call, and it looks fantastic. The fish barrel, incredible update. Such a nice quality of life thing, especially for irons or like even people who want to hunt the fishing pet. Doubling down on your Cairn-one's input is incredible.
True.
The tackle box to save a little bit of inventory space, and a pretty neat pet on top of it. I think overall this was a great update.
Yeah, I think it's good, and it's what I think they should be, and I think they will be doing for most skills. What Temperos is to fishing, we need something for thieving like that. We need something
perfect
for
and out of the box.
Whatever.
No, but we still enjoy it, and at least it's different. At least it's an update because we can't say we had many of them this year. And this was one of the highlights for sure.
It's quite fun. Yeah, it's got a cool aesthetic to it, especially with the
nice
HD
to expand the desert
cool.
a little bit too. So I do like that. There's just a lot of positives for Temperos.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then finally, for the last major update of 2021, as I quickly skim through my brain, make sure I'm not missing anything. I went to every dev blog though, so probably not. And that's the group Iron Man. It is the Iron Man mode, but you can do it with up to 5 people in a small group. And you can grind out items together, you can boss together, you can share items and trade with each other, and you have your own little group chat you can discuss with. So this was released only a couple of months ago. Again, this was teased in, I want to say 2019 with the clan system, and it finally came out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, cool. Long anticipated. Kind of delivered. I think the downside to Group Iron Man is that it requires, in a game where you have to put in so much time, or it can only put in a certain amount of time each week, you either feel bad being left behind by your teammates or getting too far ahead of them. So you really need to be in a group that's kind of like-minded to enjoy it properly, I think. And I think that's both the good and the bad part, sort of the downfall of Group Iron Man. I mean, it's a good update, and I do like that it's in the game. I think it's a great to add new ways to play. But I'm a little sad that was our major update of the year.
Yeah, it didn't really impact me at all. I didn't really care for it. A lot of content creators made series, or they did more content around their group Iron accounts, and they had this day one, all these streamers played it, which was actually enjoyable. I did like watching these non-RuneScape players play the group Iron mode, so that was fairly enjoyable. I think a lot of people encountered a similar problem, that they group up with these other people, and then their friends either fall off quickly or they don't play it as much as they said they would.
Even though it's slower, technically, it's just a little bit more fun to make a solo Iron Man in that regard.
Yeah, because a lot of the things that I think what non-committed RuneScape players, like I have friends who played RuneScape, and they would play it because they knew I liked to play it and they wanted to play together with me. And they also knew that I did all this cool end game PVM stuff. And they said, that looks fun. I want to do that. And I want to do it with you. The problem is it takes quite a long time to get there. And all of them inevitably got bored before they got to the level where they can start raiding. And I think a lot of group players kind of came at that the same way, where they're like, let's make these new accounts because it's going to be so much fun to do God Wars together. It'll be so much fun to go do this, and this. The problem is the road to that spot is quite long, and a lot of them fall off.
Go and thieve 15 hours of Master Farmers so we can all get gear so that we can do God, get the levels to get to God Wars. I'm like, it's good in theory, but in practice, I think it's a little bit more challenging than we first thought. And especially since there were like 80,000 new accounts made on day one, I don't imagine 90% of those aren't active anymore.
Yeah, hectic. I did see one really wholesome thing, and I saw it was 3 accounts, and they all had a similar naming, and it was blank mom, blank dad, blank son. So it was like a whole family playing together and free to play. And I was like, are you guys actually a family? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, holy shit, that is like the most adorable thing I've ever seen. And they're all hardcore accounts. So this is going to be awkward when somebody loses all those
Timmy
statuses.
dies to Master Farmers. Yeah.
That's it. You're grounded.
You're grounded, son.
This is bullshit.
You lost 3 lives for us this week, boy.
You're grinding out those Dragon Warhammers for us. We want 3 of them by the
there
end
has
of the
been
weekend.
some cool content to come out of it. So I'm happy we got the update, but the amount of time and dedication that it took, once again, I am disappointed. And I am generally I'm a positive guy. Like, I'm free to come at everything, with a positive twist. But yeah, these updates have sucked. You got in one corner, you've got Group Iron Man, and it's facing off against Shooting Stars. Who's gonna win best PVM update of the year? Honestly, none of them win it.
Okay, well, let's say you have to choose one of them. Okay, Temporos.
I think
fair
it's
enough.
fun and it's fast and it's a good part of the game.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm gonna say. I agree. I don't know what I'm gonna choose.
I would have picked Group Iron Man because I do, for the people who do enjoy it, I think it's great to have other options. But if I'm weighing like how much time they took on getting it out, like multiple years, and how many resources went into it, it's just, I can't give it my vote.
Yeah. See, mine's between Temporos, combat achievements, and clan systems. The problem is combat achievements aren't super massive. They're just a thing that's there. The clan system, while I think is something that I enjoy the most, it is also the least polished, whereas Temporos, right out the gate, it was ready to go. It was a finished product.
Exactly.
Clan systems does not seem finished. I feel like we need so much more, and I don't know why we haven't seen any more tweaks to the clan system since they brought it out.
Could have been
however
the best
long ago
by a country mile. But yeah, you're right. It's not polished. And for that reason.
Yeah. And for that reason, I'm out. You ever watch Dragon's Den? Oh, okay. That's what they say when somebody pitches an idea and they don't like it. They go,
for that reason, I am out. Well, Jagex, all your ideas coming to fruition this year.
Clan system.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, like,
clan system. It's not polished. And yeah, for that reason, I'm out. I'm going to go to Temporos
as we've known. The
think.
Updates have just been kind of whatever this year. Luckily, we have so much content in this game. Like, there's always stuff to do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. If we even get half the stuff they mentioned in their dev blog, it's going to be a good time. So,
so that was probably the biggest category to go through. But we have next best PVM update. We got 3 to choose from. All 3 of them are just challenge modes of stuff we already have. There is the Zarket Rax challenge, which is the Jad challenge where you get to fight 3 to 6 Jads, and if you do it, you get a recolor.
It's time for me to do this soon.
Have you been looking forward to doing this?
Hell no. It's just like another.
Okay. I think this is a big stinker. I don't care. Stinker. I think it's kind of private servery, but whatever.
I do think the transmog of Jad is sweet. but the way you get it is a little bit troll for me. Like it's like a mini
full
game
boring. So not
with
really
like
into it.
doesn't really like. I haven't done it. I've done obviously 3 Jads, but as soon as you start getting higher than that, it's not really game mechanics. It's just like learning the timing, and then it's not really applicable to anything else you'll ever do in RuneScape. Whereas like triple Jads is like it is proper prayer flicking. Managing your health, managing your positioning, keeping an eye on multiple things at a time. Whereas like 6 Jads is just nuts.
Yeah, lame. So next we have Fasani's Nightmare, which is a solo mode for Nightmare of Ashiyama. It's both harder and you can only do it as a solo player. You can't do it in a group. It's very hard content. And so what I do like about it is that Nightmare of Ashiyama, it sucks to do solo. The fights are like, I don't know, like 15 minutes or something. I have no idea, but it's fairly long for a solo fight. And it's just, I don't think it's really worth it. But I do that. But the Fasani's Nightmare is incredibly difficult. It is very hard. It's actually fun though. I've got 60 deaths from it, and I haven't beat it once. But god damn it, is it something that I want to beat? And is it when I beat it? Oh fuck, is it going to feel good? I can already feel
someone
it.
Who will do a boatload of this content this year. Super looking forward to it. This was an example of something where they took an issue in the game and they made it more. I don't want to say this eloquently, but basically made it a little bit easier. So like, yeah, the fight is harder, but at least it's quicker and the rewards are a little bit better. So now you have options.
Yeah, and you can do it solo. You don't have to go to the
This
mass
was
world.
really for Iron Man overall, but it is a cool update.
It's fun. It's a fun boss to do solo too, at least for now. And then lastly, we have Theater of Blood, both story mode and hard mode. I have entry mode here.
Yeah,
I think it's entry mode. So entry mode and hard mode. And entry mode is basically an easier version of Theater of Blood where you don't get any uniques. You can do it, I guess up to 5 people, but it's soloable content. And then there's hard mode, which is, of course, just a harder version of it. And doing the hard mode gives you recolors to both a transmog to the pet and then recolors to your scythe, 2 different versions, your staff. And is there another one?
Yeah, there's the holy kit, the sanguine kit for the scythe, and then there's the transmog. So yeah, 3.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then the rapier,
but
right?
that's the holy kit can go on the rapier, the staff, or the scythe. Yep.
Right, yeah. And then, of course, going back to Fasani's Nightmare, you got a transmog to your pet and a tablet you can infuse to your necklace to teleport to the nightmare itself. So thoughts on Theater of Blood, both entry mode and hard mode?
Cool. Yeah, it's nice to have a little way to get in. Hard mode, I've watched my friends do a lot of it. I have 1 KC. It's a little bit tricky because I don't have a scythe. You really need one to farm it.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched my friends, do quite a lot of KC recently. And yeah, it's cool. I'm not going to say it's bad content. It's definitely harder. It's tedious. It requires a lot of brain power, especially when you're learning. But eventually, yeah, it's farmable and the rewards are kind of neat. You get a little bit of a better purple chance. It gets the heart racing. But the fact that this is our PVM update is sad to me. I'm not, like I said, I can't say it's bad content because it really isn't. Like, yes, it belongs in the game and it's nice to have a place to get these rewards from. But next is what we should be getting, not hard mode, Tob.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like that the recolors, when you see someone with one of them, you're like, damn, like for me, I was doing some Theater of Blood and I had someone join and he had the recolor for the scythe and I was like, holy shit, this guy's a pro. So I like that. Whereas with challenge mode, Chambers of Zarek, if you don't know, you get it recolored to your ancestral, turns it from a blue white to it's a blue beige to a dark green beige, or it's like a gray
sweats, baby.
Yeah, so they look cool, but you don't, when you see someone with it, someone who doesn't know is going to look at that and be like, whatever. It doesn't look much cooler than the original. It actually looks the exact same as the original. Yeah,
compared to the difference that like the owl staff makes when you put the holy kit on the sanguinesti staff, turns it from a bat to an owl. Looks pretty sick. The rapier is kind of garbage, but the scythe looks cool with both the blood, the sanguine, and the and the whatever it's called, the holy kit. Both of them look cool. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. So out of the three, which one do you what do you think? What is the winner for you?
Visanis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Me too.
Old content to kind of new content. Top is just harder, and I don't even remember. The first one was so garbage. I don't even remember it. Oh, it was the 6 chat challenge. Yeah, that's not even the running deals. Yeah, Visanis for sure.
Visanis, nice. All right, next is the best PvP update, because they try to give PvP a little bit of love, but you'll soon see it ain't much. So first is Last Man Standing got a new map, which is a wild Varrock map. Before it was just like this plains area. Yeah, it's really not much.
On the list, this is going to be really bad. I don't remember the list for PvP, so can't wait.
I think the wild Varrock map looks really freaking cool, though. Yeah, that's it. It looks cool. It doesn't really do much for the actual game mode. It's all the same. Just a little. It's a recolor of the map, but I think it looks really good. And it's basically Varrock as if it was in the wilderness, all ruined. Next is Soul Wars, which is a mini game. 2 teams face off, and you try to kill each other's boss, and you can, beef up your boss or buff down, nerf the enemy's boss, and you can just fight each other, and whoever kills their boss like 5 times first wins. I think it's okay. People were super excited for this because it used to be in the game however long ago.
Like, it is fun, but I mean, there's not much to the rewards, right? You just go in there to have a good time, really.
Yeah, it's a new way to imbue your items. If you don't want to AFK at Nightmare, you can at least do a fun way with Soul Wars. My issue is when you go there, it's like kind of not that much fun because you will just face some dude in arrows with an LE and a crossbow, and he's gonna tank everybody, and he's just gonna sit there and AFK the boss. Well, everyone tries. yeah.
It's the gear disparity is huge, but also people just kind of cheese it. You just like don't kill people and you just run to the other boss, and you both get points. I'm not fully sure, but there's like a whole system going on there. It's a little bit dark. We'll have to dive into it one day. But my friend was telling me about it. Basically, like they rig the games somehow. But oh well.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It was an update.
It was an update indeed. Next is, this was a good one. Dead Man Mode Reborn. This is more of the actual season, not the tournament or any of the fun stuff that ensued after that. I actually thought this Dead Man mode was fun. It did a lot of cool things that none of the other Dead Man modes do, and I played it more than the other Dead Mans, and I did find it enjoyable. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. You have any thoughts on it?
I like watching the videos from Dead Man. I think it's cool, and this one seemed quite fun. But the tournament was a shit show.
Yeah, I like the. Yeah, it was. We'll get to that. Don't worry. And lastly, they buffed the Revenants. They gave them some extra loot. Yeah, that happened. And they kind of revived it a little bit.
Yeah. Ironically, that I think is the best update, like by a country mile.
The Rev
because
buff,
it brought like a central place for like PVMers and PKers to go together. And now because it's singles plus, it gives PKers a chance to like PK there in really good gear without being afraid of getting, like singles clanned out or it being multi. So you see people there with like 500 mil risk, which is pretty sweet. So it's very active for PKers, a lot of places to get into fights, and it's relatively safe. Like obviously your skill matters because you're fighting people, but if you back yourself as a PKer, it's a good place to go and have some fun. And as a PVMer, it's pretty cool too, especially as an Iron Man. Like the fact they doubled it gives me actual access to the table now. So I can, I never dreamed of getting a Revs weapon until that update came out. So I think it was both good for PVMers, especially Iron Man, and it was good. It's good money per hour. I think it's like 4 or 5 mil, maybe even 6 mil per hour. If you're just chilling there, you can be on Skull as well and still get those kind of numbers. So
it's not bad money, and it's decent enough for PKers that if you go there, you'll probably find someone every world, but it's also not good enough that you have to worry about PKers flooding your world all the time. You can generally get away with some if you're lucky. Like I was doing it, I was able to AFK for a solid amount of time before I got jumped.
Yeah, like I've done like almost 4,000 KC, and I've died once, seen tons of PKers, but it's fun. Like I enjoy the content. So I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I am obviously a bit of a wildy junkie. But considering this is the only update that actually positively affected PKers and PVMers, I would say we go for this one.
That's fair. That is fair.
I mean, Wilderness, the new map for LMS is a close second, though, Dills.
You know what? The reason I was thinking, like, the reason that is a runner-up for me is because nobody asked for it. I don't know where it came from. It does look dope as fuck, but it just isn't really. It's cool.
It is cool. I admit that is a
it.
fun map for sure, and that's the way those kind of updates should be implemented. Like, we don't need to ask or poll a new map for LMS. Like, just send it to us.
Yeah. Yeah, although I think I'm going to have to go with Dead Man Mode Reborn only because I like all these different kind of seasonal events that pop up, like leagues. While I don't competitively play Dead Man Mode, I always try it out and it's kind of fun before I get annoyed, before I die and then I give up and never play it again. But it kind of makes this game more fun. It makes it more living and vibrant because you can, there's always something around the corner, kind of like bingo that we do, right? There's always the next bingo to look forward to.
Bingo was the major update of the year, let's be honest. It sweeps all categories and then it's not even close.
It is the best PvP update as well. It also is the best new quest, which is what we're going to talk about next. Unfortunately, not everybody gets to complete the quest, it seems. But yeah, the next category we have here is Best New Quest. And we got 3 of them this year. Below Ice Mountain, a free-to-play quest that unlocks the ruins of Camdozel. We have a Kingdom Divided, which is a major installment in the Great Korend area quest line. And then finally, we have A Night at the Theater, which was not even a quest when it was released.
It's not in the running. It's the other 2, surely.
It's awful. They have since updated it, so it is a quest now. You can vote however you want. If you want to base it on its release or base it on how it is now. But yeah, out of those 3, I don't know which. Let's start Below Ice Mountain.
I actually love Below Ice Mountain. I don't know about you. I thought it was really cool. It's nice to see updates to places we know and love from the free-to-play areas. So I give that 2 thumbs up, and I wish we could have a few more of those kind of updates. And it gave us players like a wieldable hammer, so like it still gave us something kind of neat.
And it gave free to play a new weapon. I think it's So I'll just say right now, out of the 3, Below Ice Mountain is my winner of the 3 this year, only because it's a free-to-play quest, which is awesome. The quest is fun. It is actually a fun quest to do. There's a Rocky-style montage scene where you're working out. That's the music is freaking good. It is a punchy quest in the sense that it is fun all the way to the end. You get some additional lore to the Imkando dwarves. You get this new area to mine fish. I think a little bit of runecraft stuff is there. You get a new mace. You get a new hammer. And of course, you get this new dungeon thing. You like pickpocket chests, which is really neat as well. I don't think many people do it, but it's one of those for Snowflake Ultimate Iron Man out there. You might find some useful items in there because I know it's on my radar.
I actually think I agree with you. It is the best quest of the 3 by quite a large margin.
Yeah, my problem, Kingdom Divided was the trailer was sick. The storyline was great. I found it dragged on. I got bored. Yeah,
I'm a space bar warrior when it comes to quests, and I enjoyed Under Ice Mountain, and I did not like Kingdom Divided because I was smashing that space bar so much. It was too much running around. It was still good. Don't get me wrong. And the ending for Kingdom Divided was really great. But yeah, Below Ice Mountain was short and it was punchy. Short and sweet. It was good all the way through. And there's A Night at the Theater, which is come on, that shouldn't even make the list. I will say, funny enough, Kingdom Divided should probably be thrown on PVM update of the year because thralls actually make a huge difference to a bunch of the metas of bosses. Thralls were actually, and the spellbook rework overall were a fairly big update. Kind of in hindsight, I didn't think it was going to be huge, but thralls are really good DPS at a lot of places, and definitely have shaken up a bunch of metas. Not hugely, but you're bringing thralls now instead of like say vengeance and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A good example of that would be like in solo raids. Used to bring whatever, it didn't really matter, but now you bring thralls because when you're doing the mage hand, you basically Olm never sees you, but his head won't turn over, and you'll run into a little bit of a problem and lose a bit of DPS if you splash on his hand during one certain section. But now with Thralls, if you have the mage one out, the mage one basically never misses. So his head is always going to turn to the right. So you're never really going to lose any DPS. So it's definitely shaken up metas a fair bit.
Yeah, I definitely think it's really cool, and I'm glad there's a use between all 4 spellbooks now. We will be getting to that. That is definitely on a list, but I definitely agree. It is. I'm glad they reworked it, and it coming from a Kingdom Divided was super thematic.
So.
Is that even a word? Next is the best new area that they've added to the game. This is a new category because we had to remove some categories because we didn't get much love in other spots. But we have the Ruins of Camdozel, which is the place below Ice Mountain where the Imcando dwarves can be found, and they're making their legendary weapons as always. The Isle of Souls, which is where Soul Wars is on. I'll be honest, I don't really go there that often unless it's for a clue scroll. And the Ruins of Unka, which is where Temperos is. It's a encampment that is... I don't know if they just keep sending ships out there to deal with the Temperos or what's going on, but there's a bunch of fishermen, and I don't think it's a settlement per se, but you take a canoe there, and then there's people constantly trying to fight this Temperos.
Do we have a name for these awards? Are they called the Wildies or something?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. The Wildies.
Temperos sweeping up the Wildies this year.
The Wildies. I like that.
Yeah, so what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I think the Ruins of Unka are really cool because it's just like all these like fishermen, and they're like, I don't know, they're dealing with this like this, I don't even know what you want to call it, this like tsunami monster thingy, the cyclone monster. I think it's kind of cool. Ruins of Camdozel is pretty sweet too. I don't really like the name, but I like this ancient mine. Although I wish there was more than just one dwarf down there because he's kind of lonely.
we talked about that when it first came out. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And there's another Imcando dwarf that he's been all alone, and he's over by the Wyverns area.
Out of these 3, Isle of Souls sucks. It's so
it's
so
the biggest
big,
one.
And like the clue scroll steps, you run out of energy by the time they get there. It desperately needs another way to teleport to it besides through the main area, like a fairy ring or some kind of jewelry. Yeah, it's brutal.
If we're talking about exactly what's in the area, probably Isle of Soul has the most content that's like useful or the most variety, but yeah, it's very uninspiring. Whereas Ruins of Camdozel and the Ruins of Unka, they're both very unique, and I love the aesthetic of them. Very cool.
I give my vote to the Unka just simply because Temperos is there.
Ooh. Nice. Yeah, I would do the same. I like it, and more desert content. That's fun. Next category: Best Pet of 2021. A lot of recolors on this one. There's a lot of recolors. Let's start off with the unique ones, though. We got the Temperos pet, that one's pretty sweet. Are you a fan of the Temperos pet? Yeah. And then we got the Soul Wars avatars. What do you think of those two?
No, I'm not. I don't like them. A little too bulky and clunky for me.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan either. And I guess maybe they're not really I don't find them iconic. They're cool looking, but I don't know. I don't find Soul Wars super iconic content, and it's weird to have a pet with it. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
My top 3 least favorite pets on the game.
Oh, top 3. Nice. All right. Well, we also got the Jad pet recolor, which is from that Jad challenge we talked about earlier. I think that one's cool. I think that I do like the recolor. It's pretty dope. Got the Nightmare recolor, the Nightmare boss, which makes it kind of like a parasite. Yeah, that one's pretty ugly. I'm not a huge fan of that one. I like the original better, but we'll take it. Then we got the Sarachnis recolors, which lets you change it orange or blue.
That's a laughable recolor.
Yeah. We got the Theater of Blood recolors, or I guess transmogs would be better. Yeah, that one's the top ones are.
Yeah, I think they're cool. I think the gargoyle, Zarpus, is one of the, if not the best looking pet in the game. It's just up there for me. I think. It looks.
Yeah, I would think that one's one of my favorites too. Zarpus. I like flying pets in general. Is
really sweet too.
That was cool. Yeah. Criera's cool.
Pets are great.
Yeah. And then we got, of course, in theme with flying, we got the heron recolor. Kind of looks like a, I was going to say toucan Sam.
Blue heron.
No.
You ever seen those before?
Yes, the blue heron. No, I don't think I've ever seen one. I've seen
I used to live in a town in the Okanagan where there was like a blue heron like sanctuary, and they would all nest in these huge trees kind of in the city down near the creek. It was really nice. Yeah, you could just see them all year round, basically. Well, not all year round because they migrate, I guess, but they were always there. And the nests were huge. Really nice to see those. I guess I was a little spoiled because I think they're kind of rare.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like I want to say they're territorial of their
I imagine
nests.
Most birds are.
Or that makes sense. and are they not endangered, but are they like kind of a protected?
Because it was weird because there was a whole bunch of infrastructure in the area where I lived, and then there's this blue heron nest that was just kind of out of place, you know? Like the creek sort of ran through the town, and mostly it was built up around the creek. But then there's this huge patch of super tall, thin trees where the blue herons would nest. And then the creek went further up the mountain. But yeah, it was pretty neat. So it was like overlooking the Walmart parking lot. Which is hilarious.
Classic. Something similar. When I used to work residential construction, they would just the construction company I worked for would just buy a huge plot of land, which was always like a forest or a wetlands area, and then eventually they'd like just bulldoze everything down. Classic humans, right? And then they'd build the cookie cutter subdivisions. And I remember when I was working on a site, we were building, but then there was just like giant patch of like dirt for the most part, like right in the middle of the construction site. And they had houses planned to be built there, but it was a nesting area for a white heron. They couldn't do anything. They had to wait for basically it to like decide to leave, and it would kind of fly back every now and then. And then I guess it got just too busy that it left the area, something like that. I can't remember exactly. And I'm being told from like, not like management, or I'm being told by like my other coworkers, this is what's going on, but it felt a little bad. You're just like destroying all these homes and whatever, these homes for like animals. But like, it was crazy that like they couldn't even build the houses where it was because they couldn't kick the bird out. They had to wait for it to kind of leave. Yeah. Fun stuff. So yeah, we got that recolor pet from Temperos as well. What's the pet of the year for you?
Probably the hard mode top one because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, those ones are cool. I think I'll have to go with the Temperos just because it's a unique that I enjoy.
Yeah. The recolors are like hardly considered. But they're outsiders to win this wildie, that's for sure.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right. Whereas I do think Zarpus is one of the coolest pets we've got.
But yeah, Temperos is a good one. So up to I hope we do get a few more like actively new ones next year. Because it's not that we don't have enough pets in the game. So it's always nice to have new content that has pets available because they're well loved. Everyone loves pets. Yeah,
it's fun. And there are these things where like the average person can't you like they're not going to actively grind for it. Like I tell I do bosses being like, I'm still doing this boss because I want the pet. But most pets in general that people get, they're spooned, right? They're very lucky. They get it way below drop rate.
Is spooned likely.
Yeah, because just it takes like doing 2,000 kills for like the gargoyle pet or whatever boss it is. That's a lot in general, and it's going to take somebody a long time to do it, especially if you're, not playing like 16 hours a day. It's going to take you some time to actually get there. To get that many kills. You need to be really
committed if you're hunting a specific pet for sure.
Yeah. So having more pets from different activities is always cool because it's just more chances for you to get lucky.
And like theoretically
whatever
over
activity.
The course of your account, like if the boss has roughly 1 in 3,000 drop rate, you kill 6,000 bosses in a year, you're probably going to get 2 pets. So
right, exactly. And then you just whatever pet you get, that's what makes it exciting, right? That's why getting a pet drop is such a huge rush because at some point you're going to get one, but you don't know which one it is.
Pet drop.
Yeah, that's fun. All right, next This is the year of the reworks and the recolors, you know, because the next category is the best reworked content. And we got 6 contenders here. So the first one is Shades of Morton, where they reworked some of the drops and some of the items you can get, and they added a new what do you want to call them? Just a new tier of shades where you can kind of you kill these shades, you get these remains, you make pyrologs, you put them on you burn them in this area, and you get these keys which you can then unlock chests with. So they gave this new Zealots outfit, which is like this. No, it's gotta be Zealots, right?
No shot at Zealot.
One of these. I was actually thinking about this. All right.
There's no way it's Zealots.
Zealots.
Because I believe Zealot is like like an like against a certain religion. I can't actually remember. Something to do with religion. Religious zealot.
You might be right with this one. Yeah, you might be right with this one. Okay, well, in StarCraft, I'm pretty sure they're called Zealots. So, yeah. I was thinking this week, one of these days, I want to grab all these words that people accuse me of mispronouncing, because I think everyone's wrong, and I'm gonna go find like a linguist and bring them on the show to have them be like, how should this be pronounced? Because Jagex doesn't know.
They're just gonna roast you the entire time on your terrible pronunciation.
I'll have to buy them out. That's for 2022. We'll bring them on at some point. Okay, the Zealots, the Zealots
there
outfit.
Go.
God, every time.
No, you actually grinded for this, correct? So
yeah, I did grind it just because
this content.
It's like not bad. It's something to do. It's not horrible content to actually do for a main. Yeah, you get some fair loot. It's like not bad. It's something to do if you need something to do, and that's why I did it, because I needed something to do.
Why not?
Yeah, it's not super useful.
It is pretty niche. Yeah, like realistically, if you're just looking to save some money on bones, then you just do the Chaos Altar. So this
I bring these to the Chaos Altar because it gives you an extra 5% to save it. So instead of getting 50% chance. You got to make sure you protect item. There's a few times I forgot to turn my protect item on and I lost it. Yeah. If you keep the 3.
True.
Yeah, you just can't bring anything extra.
The problem is like when you do Wildy Altar, it's best to, in my opinion, like bring like a locator orb so you can kill yourself, and then you suck on and then you drink the wine and then you die. And that's the way I do it anyways. Like I respawn at Ferox. I just do one, maybe I bring like 100 noted bones if it's quiet one night. But when I start, I always bring a locator orb, and then I'll just kill myself and then sip the wine, and then that finishes me off, and then I respawn in Ferox. Bank and tally back up.
Yeah, I just think similar. I'll bring the 4 pieces of the Zealot's outfit, and then I'll do the same thing. I'll suicide, but I usually run over to the Chaos Fanatic because I don't want to click that much, so I just run over there and kind of let him kill me off.
I one tick the bones on the altar to make it quick. So, but then again, if I lose them, it's more of a big deal because I actually had to grind for them, and prayer is pretty brutal.
True, big pain in the ass there. So yeah, they gave a nice little rework. It's a good way to get some elite clues as well if you want a reason to do that. The next one is this is a big one, the big equipment rebalance. And I was thinking of breaking it all up, but you know what? They kind of brought it, when they first talked about it was one giant dev blog. And of course there was all this drama of like people complaining about this or that. So they had to do it in tiers and go back and forth between all this stuff. But when they first released it, it was a whole whack of stuff there. Toxic Blowpipe, Black Dragonhide, Din's Bulwark was a few of them. A bunch of the equipment tiers were going to get shuffled around. Like Tebow, I think, was going to level 80 range, and a bunch of other equipment was as well, just to make it make more sense, because you get to the tier 75, right? Weapons that require 75 of a stat to use, and it's just like this huge category where you have everything from like the Zamorak God Sword all the way to a Twisted Bow. Of course, one is much better than the other. is a very oversaturated level tier. So they wanted to kind of switch things up around. And of course, they brought a bunch of free-to-play gear was going to get like reworked a bit. So medium helmets was going to have less impact on your range. So it gives you, if you want to be more defensive, bring medium helmets. They made Warhammers only require strength. You don't need attack for it, which is like kind of like a buff to PvPers or maulers, at least people who don't level their attack. So they did a whole bunch of stuff like that as well. So it was a big move. It was a
huge update, definitely.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? I know some of it's not even fully done. Most of it's been done, but I think they still have to shuffle around the tiers,
still, don't they?
Level
this
tiers.
This is a huge update, one of the biggest in ages. And for the most part, it was just nerfing equipment to make room for others. Obviously, I was pretty upset about the blowpipe going. I had like mixed feelings about it because it's such a powerful item. It like bridges the gap between or like basically the blowpipe and the twisted bow. One's 3 mil, one is 1 bill. And, they were sort of similar power-ish levels. Obviously, T-bow's better, but back then the blowpipe could compete at most bosses. Now that's not the case. It definitely is still, it's still good at certain places. Like you use it at Calphite Queen, you use it at Theater of Blood, you use it at Hydra. It's still a powerful weapon, don't get me wrong, but as soon as things start having defense, it's no longer useful. So when you get down to like Dagonoth Prime, you really need something a little bit better than a blowpipe because it's not going to shred her or him like anyone else, like any of the other weapons. But then they released the Bofa, the crystal bow, the new one from Gauntlet, which I think was a fantastic choice because now that's an item. It's like 200 mil or so, and that really bridges the gap between whatever in the twisted bow, the blowpipe and the twisted bow. Also the fact that it has 10 tile range and it's 4 tick, it just added a whole bunch of new metas to the game. So now I think it was a really fantastic update in hindsight. And now there's sort of 3 tiers of range weapons. You start with the blowpipe, then you move on to the crystal bow, or the bow Ferdinand, and then you get the T-bow if you're a main. And if you're an Iron Man, you can just skip the twisted bow and go right for the Bofa. So
yeah, the Bofa. I don't even think it's included in this like year in review, but it really should be. I did have a category of like the best new equipment or the best new item, and then as I was filling it out, it was obvious. Like the bow of Ferdinand.
Even if you did, it wouldn't matter. Let's be honest.
You have the Bofa, and underneath it, I had like a tackle box from like Temperos, and I was like, "This is stupid. I'm just going to delete this category."
I kind of lump it in with this change because obviously they had that in mind, and they hadn't told us yet when they told us about the nerfs coming back in the spring, and everyone was like up in rage. But I think in hindsight, like now that we've had enough time to sort of soak in the update, I think it was a really good update for the game and a super necessary one. And now the blowpipe is still an incredibly powerful item. It just has its place now, rather than being its place being literally everywhere. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, this was big. This caught me off guard, and I kind of like lost my mind because I've been kind of talking about this for a long time. How like when it comes to weapons, it's confusing. Like when like a new player comes to it and they look at the weapons guide where you kind of open up the range tab. Let's just say, and you go through it. A lot of things just don't make sense. You even have like the crystal bow, which is 70 attack or 70 range, which is not that strong. No. So like, yeah, exactly. It's so anyways, I thought this really took me off guard, but yeah, I think in a good way because it was long needed. Yeah. Next we were talking about this before, the Arceus spellbook. Beforehand, it was really only good for training, prayer, and teleporting, and then it had like a weird spell for like reviving your dead crops. Like it had just like these random spells that were actually kind of useful as well. But with the Kingdom Divided quest, they reworked the whole Arceus spellbook and kind of made it almost like a necromancer spellbook. You got ancient magics, which is very it's like very aggressive magic spells. They're all attack, and they drain, they heal you, or they freeze somebody, or they poison them. You have Lunars, which is a very supporty-esque spellbook. You can venge others, you can heal others, even though I don't think anybody does that. You can transfer your energy over. You can create hunter kits. I think you can do a bunch of weird stuff.
Utility within
Bake pies,
within the lunar spell, but also like a lot of PVM relevance with specifically vengeance. So
yeah, exactly. So it's got some cool stuff there. It's very supporty, and then now you have this new necromancer spellbook, which is it's got a lot of like different spells. It's got the thralls, which I think are one of the coolest additions to Magic that we've seen in a long time. You can summon these little, kind of like a minion that can help you DPS in a lot of spots. I'm a big fan of like having companions and minions whenever I play games where you can do that. I've been playing Diablo Immortals, the game that got announced, the mobile Diablo game, and everyone was up in arms about. It's in closed beta right now, and I got invited to it because I signed up for it because I'm a big mobile fan, and it's pretty fun. But anyways, my point is there's all these different classes. I picked the Witch Doctor because I really like summoning things around me like to help me DPS. So anyways, that's why I really like the thralls. And it's cool that they actually are useful. But there's a bunch of other spells. There's stuff to help you thieve. There's spells that do extra damage to demons. Yeah, there's a lot of wacky stuff in there. What are your thoughts on the Arceus spellbook?
Yeah, I think it's good. I kind of talked about some time to play around with the episode. But yeah, it's nice that, Lunars, as you mentioned, and Ancients both have their place in PVM. And now the Arceus spellbook also has its place with the Thrall. So all three of them are useful in different scenarios. So it's nice to have a little shake up to the spellbook meta.
Yeah, I think the Arceus spellbook, and I also think Lunars might need some tweaking, because really there's only a couple of relevant spells, and a lot of them are very interesting and they have potential, but they're just left untouched, like the whole heal others spell on the Lunars, because I guess they're because that's it. That could really break some content if you change the way you can
I think
heal
they were
others.
pretty conservative when they made the Arceus spellbook, because Magic has the potential to be so game changing and powerful that they didn't want to go over the top with like some of the demon spells, perhaps. So they are a little bit weak, but Thralls is really the reason you're on that spellbook. A Dark Lore is also a really nice utility spell for Iron Men who want to catch Implings. So it's level 50, requires a death and a nature, and you shoot it at an Impling, and if it hits, the Impling will come towards you. So if you're in Poro collecting, Eclectics or whatever, then you want to bring that instead, because the old meta was you would entangle the imps if they ran away from you, and then you would go through the stupid wheat and go and grab them, and then make your way back through the wheat to the spawn point, because sometimes they like immediately run away after spawning, so you can't just spawn camp them. But now the Dark Lore will just bring all the imps towards you, so you never have to move. So it makes it quite a bit quicker and definitely less frustrating.
Yeah, that's cool. That is neat. Yeah, I didn't know about that one. Pretty cool. Next, we have the mini games area addition to the Grand Exchange and many of the pubs around Gielinor. This one's cool. I don't think I've ever played a mini game since these new areas have been added, but I love the idea of going to like a pub somewhere and seeing people playing Connect 4. Yeah,
nice,
kind of cool.
Nice little update.
Any thoughts? Yeah, I wish they brought it to the clan halls, but
clan halls need some love.
Yeah. Next is the Slayer helmet recolors. So before you would, they have all these different recolors. We've talked about some of the ones that were brought from the combat achievements. But beforehand, they would just be like different colors, really. You get the Vorkath recolor, would make your Slayer helmet blue. You get the KBD recolor, would make your Slayer helmet black. You get the Calphite Queen, it would make it green and orange. But they went back and they reworked the visuals of all of these, so they weren't just recolors, they actually changed visually. So, the Vorkath recolor now added broken 2 horns to your helmet, one of which was broken. The Abyssal Demon recolor, instead of it just being red, it added like Abyssal Demon elements, which was pretty neat. And so they did that with all of them. And I think they looked really cool. Some people were upset when they were first released, which was kind of strange in hindsight. But
generally, I agree with you. I think they all look great. The only one I don't like was the one I originally had, which is the KBD one. I know a lot of people are fans of it, but before it was really dark, like black, and now I find it a bit too gray for me. That's just a personal thing. And I have the red and the green ones, and they're both beautiful. So
yeah, they look cool. You get the old like insect antennas.
I think it just brings it up to maybe closer to what the Hydra one looks like, and the Ulm one from Twisted Leagues. So it's just nice to have a little bit more, because we use Slayer helms so much, they may as well look good.
Yeah, for sure. And then lastly, this was another big one. They added a grand exchange tax, and they added a limit to the duel arena, so you can no longer stake more than 10 mil GP. This one was pretty big. I should add, not only did they add a grand exchange tax, but they also added a item tax that's kind of in the background that nobody really sees, where they take some of the money that is getting taxed and they grab that money and they spend it on buying different items like twisted bows. The site, they have a whole list of these unique items that they buy, and then they just delete them from the game. So the person selling it is getting their money's worth, and then that item leaves, which has caused, like, first off, a lot of money is leaving the duel arena. A lot of items have shot up in value because there's just less quantities. We saw the twisted bow go from like 700 mil back up to 1 bill since this update.
Yeah, just like everything shot up in value. I think this is one of the best updates of the year. To basically fix the economy. So I have to give them huge props for this. It was long overdue. And it's just nice for everything to be expensive again. I think most people are pretty happy with that.
People get worried when they see their bank value decreasing a bunch, because they're like, what does this mean, right? Why did I lose 500 mil? When I haven't done it, when I'm still like playing the game and making money.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we just like to see the numbers go up. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Numbers go up. We're happy. All right. So what is the best rework for 2021?
It's a tough one. What do you think?
Yeah, there is a bunch of cool ones, and I think a lot of them are. This is a tough one. I think for me, it's between the equipment rebalances, because I've been wanting this for a while, just because I think it's like. Just the inconsistency sometimes drives me insane. But the grand exchange tax is also really big, and we have also needed that for a long time as well. But I think I'm going to go with the equipment rebalances, because it's something that I never thought they would actually do, because they just never did it. And I've been thought over the years, like I thought the blowpipe needed nerfing like way back, and tons of JMods have said we made the blowpipe too strong, but it's too late. So I was always surprised that they went back and did this.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think I'm going to give my vote to the economy fix and then the removal of the duel arena. It was
nice.
Both were necessary for so long, and I'm really happy that no one else hopefully is going to fall victim to the duel arena. At least the free gambling is not just there at your fingertips on a 200 GP item. If you do want to get into the sort of the darker side of RuneScape, then you're gonna have to dig a lot harder, and I think that's going to be really good for like overall mental health of our players. So I'm really happy it's gone. Although
it was a gateway to people making iron, so many people lost all their money, and they just went and had
the podcast can be their gateway.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So next, we got the best quality of life update. This is kind of a weird category, but I just felt like it kind of gets grandfathered from when we've done this in the past. So, but we didn't get much. We got 3 to be exact, and some of them, are they even quality of life? I don't know, but they're in this category. So yeah, the first one. This is a big one for the Iron Man out there. The Instance God Wars.
Yeah, Instant God Wars. I forgot about that. You're right. That was huge.
Yeah, no more getting ragged because someone just felt like people are the friggin' worst I'm just gonna say this. People are the friggin' worst at God Wars, and they made me so mad. I was doing some Commander Zilliana because the Armadale crossbow has been like 80 mil, and I was like, I want some money, and I have to get my frozen key anyways. So I was going there. I'd hop a bajillion times because every world is packed. I'd find an empty world. I'd jump in. I'd do a kill, and then next thing you know, like 4 people, just one person hops in, and then 2 other hop in, and then 3. Next thing you know, it's a team of 4 people jump in, and they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna kill this with you, but we've got all max range, so we're gonna get the kills every time. Anyways, that happened nonstop, and I was like,
yeah, you know how
bastards.
painful it is when someone crashes you and you've just gotten your KC. Especially at Bandos. At Bandos was the biggest one. Bandos was in fact so populated that I'd settled myself like I'm basically never going to get Bandos. It'd be one of the last things I get on my account. And I was okay with that. I accepted it because when I did grind Bandos, I was doing a little bit before, like I did a few on task kills before this change came out. And I would literally line up outside with a bunch of other irons on like a 2K world. Like a UK 2K world, I have like 200 ping, and there'd be like 4 of us in line, and we just go in, do a few kills, and then take turns. That's all we do, and just chat. And that's like because the worlds were so full, it was disgusting. So you're right, this was a massive change.
Yeah, and the thing, like, sure, when I got crashed, it's frustrating, but I still have the chance of getting a kill. Whereas an iron, if somebody sees an iron grinding it, they could like, yeah, we're just going to take this world, and then the iron has to hop.
Because there's just an Iron Man in there. Yeah. And there's no point of fighting it as an iron or like doing anything. You just hop and like move on. Because if someone's going to do that to you, then fair enough. There's not even point of calling them anything. It's like they want to crash you. It's like whatever. There's nothing you can do about it. You're pretty powerless against that.
Yeah, I always just be like, that's not very nice. And then I leave. And I hope that they are sitting there late at night being like, fuck, why did I do that? Why am I such a bad person in life?
Let's be honest, they just wanted to ban this world. And it's fine. Like they're busy, so it is what it is. But this change was long overdue. And now it's turned Bandos into like probably one of the easier ones to farm, especially with the new bow as well. So
nice.
Love to see it.
Yeah, true. Shredding. All right, but next, you teased it already, extra bank space. We all got extra bank space.
One that's really mostly relevant for Iron Men. It is good for you, but it's easier to keep a clean bank when you can buy and sell things.
People love to hoard and collect things on old school RuneScape. But yeah, as an iron, even as a main, there's so many times you're like, do I throw this away? I haven't used it in a while, but I know I'm going to need it. So you throw away that gosh darn sled because you're like, I'm not going sledding anytime soon. And then you get the clue scroll and it's like, you need to go down Trollweast Mountain and you need the sled to do that. And you're like, well, frick, now I have to go back and get the sled. And
I used to have to make like painful decisions about like what to keep and what to get rid of just to keep a tight bank. But now it doesn't matter. So
yeah. Awesome stuff. And then finally, most of us don't even really know that this is happening, but we all love to play RuneLite, and RuneLite's got some cool plugins. Well, a bunch of those have been introduced into the Steam client. So I'd say the Steam client in general, which is it's pretty sketchy. A lot of horror stories.
With the Steam client is that so in the main game, when you have 2-factor, you see all these things of like people getting hacked and stuff. But most of it is because they're idiots or they're being on sketchy websites. So as far as I know, if you have 2-factor and someone has your email address and your password, they still need to access your phone to get into your account. Unless they like reset if they have access to your actual email, then you're probably in trouble. But either way, on Steam, what they can do is they can basically bypass 2-factor because Steam doesn't have it and recover your Steam account and then log onto your RuneScape account through Steam. So they basically bypass the 2-factor on your mobile phone. I'm not like an expert on security, but I believe that is the problem that is happening right now.
Yeah, a lot of people have found it to be an issue, and a lot of people say don't use a Steam client because you just opened you up to a little bit of risk. That being said, it does run pretty damn smooth, and it's got some cool RuneLite plugins. But those will be coming into the base game eventually.
RuneLite.
No way. Yeah, RuneLite's pretty sweet. It's actually got probably cooler plugins. It's got all those plugins plus better ones. So
and this will be a good little next one. So you go to God Wars Dungeon, and for those of you who play on fixed or like stretched fixed, the overlay is extremely large and you can't really do much about it. The one that shows your kill counts. It's like fancy and it like covers like a third of your screen. There's one called Better God Wars Dungeon Overlay in the plugin hub, and it just turns it into this tiny little thing, and then I stick it down in the corner and it's perfect. So now it doesn't cover my screen.
That's cool. I'm a plugin junkie. Every now and then I go through the plugins just to see what's there, and then I'm downloading like 30 of them that I don't need.
Yeah,
because
I
they're
have so
cool.
many plugins.
But yeah, there's some
play
really
around
sweet
a lot
ones.
with settings. I used to play full screen. This is actually somewhat relevant. You remember I used to play full screen 27-inch. No problems, just full send. But now I've actually transitioned to fixed mode, and I play on stretched fixed mode, which basically makes it bigger on your screen.
And then all your menus and stuff are bigger as well,
I have a huge
right?
inventory now, and it's right next to me instead of being in the corner. So I have found it, like, my field of view is a little bit worse, but my overall gameplay has been a lot better, and I'm getting used to it. And I told myself I'd try it for at least a few weeks, and it's been a good month now, and I haven't changed back. It's also less painful on my wrist because I'm not like flying down to the corner of my screen so that I can play. But I do miss kind of the immersion of full screen. But this is definitely better when I'm doing more hardcore content.
Yeah, I too am one who I love using the full screen, but I will do fixed? What do you call it? Fixed stretch? Is that what it's called?
Mode, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll do that when I'm doing like high intensity content, like Last Man Standing or PvP, or maybe like Nightmare of Ashiyama. I'll probably, or Fasani's Nightmare. I'll probably have it like that, but I always make it smaller when I don't need it. Yeah, so that's pretty sweet. But that's not on the Steam client. So
the thing I really hated about it though is it made all the icons really fuzzy because everything got so big.
Yeah,
but there's actually a way to fix that. If you have a GPU, so go to the GPU plugin, and if it's turned on, you scroll down to UI scaling and change it from nearest neighbor, which is the basic one, which basically makes the lines look like little pixels. If you change it to XBR, it will make them look really smooth, and it takes like a few minutes to get used to, but it honestly is so much better. Everything looks like very smooth and not rough. So if you're playing on fixed stretched, give that a go.
Well, pro strat. So yeah, what's the best quality of life update? And I guess it's between Instance, God Wars, and Extra Bank Space.
Great. It's really hard. Probably Bank Space because that's it's been a long time coming, and it affects everyone. So, including mains. So
they've said for a while they're like, we're not able to increase the bank space because our servers will die, but then they did it. So
I'm really glad they did. Yeah, and I like the way they did it too. Like it's kind of paywalled, but it's relatively easy to get a few bank spaces, and yeah, it affects all players. So we'll go with that one.
Next is the favorite in-game event of the year. Again, this is a pretty slow year, but kind of grandfathered in from when we've done this in the past. So we have the 8th birthday event, the 2021 Easter event, 2021 Halloween event, 2021 Christmas event, Dead Man Reborn, and the Tazar Ket Rax Challenge that they did. I think it was like the first speed runs. I can't remember exactly what it was. These events were not very memorable. Did you remember any of them?
Really? The Halloween one was pretty fun, if I recall correctly.
That was okay.
Like get dinner or something. There's like death was involved. It was pretty good. I remember there being some good jokes, and like how he's like slow going back down to his portals. I thought that was pretty good. That's about it though.
Yeah, even the birthday events, which are usually pretty fun. This one, I think, you had to
not my favorite.
They're not. You know what? I always said that I liked them, and then I was doing the Christmas one. I was like thinking, like, do I like them? I like the idea of them. I find them kind of boring.
Considering not even doing it.
It's not really fun. And I was doing, I've been playing Tarkov. I play a bunch of other games as well, and I have in the past. And a lot of other games have events that are actually fun. They're actually exciting. And I wanted this to be a topic. Obviously, maybe this is for another episode, but I was like thinking back, like why don't I enjoy these events anymore? And they're always like silly. They're like cute little events, and the rewards are always are fun, but they're kind of like boring, and they're not usually that much fun. They're just like fetch quests and with some like funny dialogue, which whatever. But I was playing Escape from Tarkov, where this is like an FPS game where there's NPCs that when you load into a map, and it's kind of like a battle royale. But you kill people, you get loot, and you want to get the hell out of that map. They added Santa Claus, which you can find on a map, and you can either kill him, which is a bad idea because you lose a bunch of reputation, which is something that's important, But if you go up to him, he throws down a really cool item on the ground for you to have for free. So when you see Santa, it's exciting. And they have these Christmas trees. And when you have a chance of getting these unique Christmas loot, which you can build, you have like a home base you can build stuff in, and you can build like a Christmas tree and put Christmas lights there. So there's this FOMO aspect of it, which is what we don't want in RuneScape. And for the most part, I agree. But it also makes the rewards not... You're just like, I'll do them next year. I don't care about doing them. That's not, you don't look forward to the event because it's like, I don't know. It's not super exciting. And, other games in the past, I was a big World of Warcraft player, and they would often have like a Christmas boss that you could fight once a day for like a couple weeks. And then you had a chance of getting like some fair weapons or like some cool items from it. And fighting that boss was always kind of exciting. Yeah, a lot of these are kind of throwaway events, which is kind of unfortunate. And I feel like I've had a little bit of mixed feelings lately about how these events are being done because they're just boring, I find. Anyway, should they change it so these events actually give decent-ish rewards? Maybe a topic for another day.
A controversial moment for the Wildies here. No award. no award.
No award for this one.
Just none of them were good enough this year.
Yeah, they're not very memorable. Although I'm going to say Dead Man Reborn because I did actually have fun with that one. No, this one was just like the actual seasonal.
Okay. Why don't you give it to that then?
Yeah, that was. I had fun. They allowed you to lock your account at different tiers. Each world was separated into like different levels brackets. So you could be level 3, level 33 in one world. And it made building a level 33 account fun because you had to think like, what do I need to level to kill other people? So I ended up going like a prayer build so that I could be very, very defensive. And it actually worked out well enough that I wasn't dying all the time. I was able to get some kills, and that was fun until it was fun until it wasn't.
Such as Dead Man.
Next. Yeah, exactly. Next is the favorite out of game event. So this one's kind of this one's going to be obvious, a little bit of a shoe-in. So the first one, the Summer Summit, which was 2021's Rune Fest, but it's looking at the next... They said it's looking at the next 6 months,
looking at the
which was a lie. It's like looking at the next year.
So like
it was a Rune Fest, now that I think about it. It wasn't 6 months at all, but that's what they said it was going to be. So yeah, the Summer Summit, which they teased a bunch of really big updates coming from... They all ended up being 2022, except for Dead Man mode and Group Iron mode, which was 2 of the events teased. The other 2 were the Tombs of Amasket and Leagues 3, the Shattered Relics. But that was pretty hype. That was fun. Next was Dead Man Reborn finale. Yeah, that was fun to watch, but for all the wrong reasons. The 11th Golden Gnome Awards, which is basically let's celebrate a bunch of content creators and other creative types in the space. They do it every year for 11 years. Wow, that's crazy. And then finally, the other one I have noted here is they did a day 1 Group Iron Man where they featured a bunch of non-RuneScape streamers, and they all played Group Iron modes on accelerated servers, so like faster experience gains and all that stuff. Which was actually I did actually enjoy watching streamers play it. Yeah, which one wins?
You pick this
one. Oh, I get both of our votes.
You can have both.
Dead Man Reborn. Yeah, it's probably Summer Summit, isn't it?
Probably, and even that, it was like, not sure how I felt about it.
It was, and looking back on it, you're like, oh. But I remember watching it, it was very hype. A lot of us were in the Discord server watching us together. When they announced Raids 3, everyone...
You're right. You were very excited
out
for Raids 3. But when it was like a year out, So...
And that's when I look back on it, it's less memorable because like they said it would be for the next 6 months.
We, no offense, don't care about Dead Man mode. For most people, don't.
I remember people predicted, and they said Leagues 3, Dead Man mode, and Group Iron mode, and that's exactly what happened. And then the Raids 3 was a big surprise, which is sad. It shouldn't have been. But now that you look at it, we were nowhere near to it being released in the next 6 months, which is what they teased it as.
Yeah, it's just once again this little pattern of disappointment this year from Jagex. But I mean, hopefully next year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to next year. I think it's gonna be much better.
That's right. So, which brings us to the next category. What is the most anticipated 2022 update for next year? We have the Tomb of a Masket. We have, which is Raids 3, desert themed, coming with a quest, whole bunch of items. Looks really cool. They have Nex, the next God Wars installment, which is actually releasing this week.
It's releasing in 2 days. Quick. Well, it's going to be out by the time this podcast gets out, right? Or 1 day away.
We got Leagues 3, the Shattered Relics, which is supposed to be a new narrative-driven Leagues, which was supposed to be out in 2021, but it got pushed to 2022. We got the new client features for Android, which I don't know why that's on here. That's one's, well, whatever. It's supposed to come out next year. The Dual Arena rework, and the main reason I put this one on here was because they are actually going to be reworking the entire Dual Arena, which is really cool. I don't know what it's going to be, and I have my hopes for some things, but really, who knows what they'll make it. They have a lot to work with there. They could do a bunch. And funny enough, RuneScape 3 is doing the same thing, but I think they're making their Dual Arena. They're making it like kind of collapsed, and it's like a ruins, the Dual Arena ruins, and it's going to be like some other content. I got to look into that, but I saw that the other day, and I was like, oh, they're doing it too. So interesting. Next is Guardians of Gielinor, which is the, I'm going to say skilling boss for rune crafting, although I think it's going to be more like a mini game, but it's going to be the Runecraft Todd, Temperos of rune crafting. Next is the Wilderness Boss rework, which they'll be making all of the new Wilderness bosses. They're going to have their own unique special layer, similar to Scorpia. Not sure if they're going to touch Scorpia, but they said they're going to be reworking the mechanics of the fight, and they're also going to be adding new items to their drop table. So that could be really cool. Next is the Guild of Shadows, which is a new thieving guild, which it has a cool name, so I had to put it on there. The Guild of Shadows sounds dope. Who knows what that's going to be? It could be really cool content, or it could be the worst. And last, Soulfuss, which is going to be a giant like turtle, I think they said it was, where you can use Hunter. It's going to be like a new skilling boss that's going to require 2 different phases between using farming and Hunter and possibly other skills to kill this
Super
giant
cool.
turtle.
Excited for that one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what the hell that means.
That's a lot of updates, so it's a lot on the list. Hopefully we get most of it.
Yeah, they better have committed to this, because we are going to be very upset if they don't deliver anywhere near what they're promising. We didn't ask for a lot of this stuff. We didn't ask for any of it. So for them to come out and say, you're going to get it, and they don't get it, it's like, what? That's like your parents. That's like if I went to my baby has grown up. He is a young child that can understand things, and I just randomly go up to him and be like, hey, son, we're going to get ice cream today. What? What a surprise. And then I just don't bring him. He's not even asking for it. So yeah, Jagus better not pull that one over on us, but we'll have to see. What's your, this might be obvious, but what's your most anticipated, what are you most excited for next year?
I don't think there's another.
Does,
next is exciting, but I think it has to be Raids 3.
Yeah, my big reason, the big thing that's pulling me towards Raids 3 as well is that so far we have 2 raids, but each are very different than the other. We have Chambers of Xeric, which is kind of, the idea was like the layout of the rooms and the bosses and the different challenges you do in the raid are different every time. It's supposed to be kind of randomized. It's not quite like that, but that's the idea. And it scales. So you can do it solo, you can do it up to 100 people. And then everything scales with it. And then they brought out Theater of Blood, which is what your standard raid is from MMOs. So you have these 5 set bosses and in different PVM rooms that don't quite change at all. They're just really hard content. And if you die in the game, you die in real life.
It's a much more punishing and higher level content than Chambers of Xeric. Chambers of Xeric is your entry level to the later game PVM, in my opinion. It's one of the first bosses you'll do in the game, basically. You might do some Slayer bosses, which are typically quite easy. You might do some Zulrah, some Vorkath, and then sort of next in line to that category is Chambers.
Yeah, that's right. And so what makes me so excited for Tombs of Amascut is that it is not going to be like Theater of Blood, and it's not going to be like Chambers of Xeric. It's going to be a completely different rating system. And I like the way that they're making these raids, that they're all different from the last. They all work a little bit differently. That's cool. And I hope they continue with that theme going forward.
I hope they remove the only thing I don't like about Theater of Blood is the wipe mechanic. I think it makes the floor, while it is great content, I'll never say that it isn't. I think getting into the raid is very difficult, and that's okay. But as that being one of our only 2 raids in the game makes it so that most players will just kind of stick to Chambers because it's easier to do. But I think having this new, hopefully Tombs of Amascut kind of strikes that middle ground where it has the potential to be scaled up really, really difficult for people who want to, go for the best rates and stuff, or want a really good challenge. And then hopefully, it's also entry level enough so that, or can be scaled enough so people are interested in doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. Theater of Blood is punishing, and it's like for myself, I have like 20 KC, and I still get kind of hesitant to do it because it
puts
feels bad to
people
die
off from learning it, which makes it while it is I won't skip. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic content. The feels and the vibes that it can give newer players, for me, are just a little bit too much. Especially as one of our only 2 options, which makes people tend to stick to things like Chambers of Xeric.
Yeah. With that being said, the intensity that Theater of Blood is very high because the stakes are higher. If you die in real life, or you get kicked out of the raid. So it's like very intense, and it's like, and it feels friggin' good to actually complete it, much more so than Chambers of Xeric.
Nothing gets my heart pounding more than when your entire team is dead and there's like 5% left on Verzik and you have to kill it yourself. And it still happens even with people that have, hundreds of KC. So it makes the content like exciting to do over and over again. But just getting into it is a lot.
Yeah, and I agree. When we only have 2 options, it's very daunting. So yeah, I agree. We're having a 3rd option, which could be much different, than Theater of Blood. Having more variety is great.
A good idea for it. So that's why I'm going to put it as most anticipated. I think the rewards are going to need to be changed, but we'll talk about that more in the future.
Oh boy. All right, very cool stuff. And then finally, my favorite category. This is always my favorite category. We gotta do it at the end here, where most people are very tapped out from this episode because they're like, "Why is this a 3-hour episode? This is rough." But this is my favorite category, which is the best. Used to be called the best controversy. Now it's the best drama, because drama is also meaning controversy, and there's just sometimes you had drama that wasn't really controversial. Always fun stuff. It's never a dull moment in this game. So the first one is the equipment rebalancing, most specifically towards the Din's Bulwark, the Blowpipe, the Black D'hide.
Wildy in the first year.
Is it going to sweep the categories
this year?
Yeah, that was fun. A lot of people are very upset because now content was just harder, right? Or the Blowpipe was getting nerfed. People were worried that they weren't going to be able to complete content as much. And while for the most part, you can still do all the same content, you do feel it in some spots. Like when I'm doing the grotesque gargoyles, the gargoyle boss, you can skip the phase where they shoot these orbs out if you do enough DPS with the blowpipe. Nowadays, it's like a 50-50 whether you can out DPS it or not. And there's really not much control on your end. Even with like dragon darts and having thralls, you're still not going to do it every time. Yeah. Next was the Dead Man mode Reborn finales, the DDoS situation, because there's a whole whack of lag. There's a bunch of lag, which was rough to watch. Also kind of funny seeing the commentators having to deal with it.
When it registers, absolutely great
servers.
When it registers, it's like trying to hit him with his rapier or something, or his VLS. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, is he going to get the kill? Wait for it.
There's nothing.
We're still waiting. It happens every time. So that was rough. A lot of people afterwards blamed it on like a lot of servers. I think in the UK were getting DDoS in general, but then Jagus came out and said, we would love to say that was the reason why, but it wasn't.
Brutal. Yeah, it's to be expected though when it's a PvP tournament with money involved. Rot's
Those
gonna
dirty
get you.
PvPers. Oh, they'll get you. Next, we have the Leagues 3 delay. So Leagues 3 was supposed to release in November, at the beginning of November. Group Ironman mode came out at the beginning of October. I think it was beginning of October. Doesn't matter. And when you look at that timeline, you're like, wow, that's pretty close together, seeing how Group Iron mode is a new gameplay. It's a new style of gameplay for the game, not really new content. Leagues 3 is kind of the same. It is new content, but it's also a new way to play the game as well. So people who might want to make a new Group Iron mode now had to choose, like, oh shit, in a month, do I stop playing my Group Iron mode even though I'm having fun to play Leagues? Anywho, this issue caused them to push it back to January, so this month, which is exciting. But also, they didn't tell people till about 2 weeks until it was going to be released. And the people who love Leagues, oh boy, do they love Leagues. And they were booking time off. And then to find out, 2 weeks from now, we're actually pushing it back for another couple of months. People were like, fuck. Like, they booked time off.
Super dumb. That just shows a lack of foresight.
Yeah, they shouldn't have put them so close together, but also a lot of people didn't care for Group Iron mode, so they were like, "No, because of this stupid game mode,
once again,
we're not able to do Leagues 3." They'll get you. They will get you. So that happened. The next two are doozies. So of course, the big one. This might be the biggest one, which was 117scape's HD plugin. Anyone who's playing RuneLite right now, check out the HD plugin. It looks really nice. It really makes the game look a lot more pleasing to look at, in my opinion. But he was coming out with this new HD plugin, and like a couple days from release, Jagex was like, by the way, all HD clients need to shut down right now because we're doing our own thing and it's coming out in 2 years. So you guys don't get to look at a prettier game. And people lost their minds. A lot of outrage happened. People were pissed, and then Jagex came back with like, okay, fine, we were just
JK boys.
Guys, we pranked you.
We weren't gonna do that.
Lol, we got you good. And then 117 went on to win the Golden Gnome.
It's two parts,
which is really funny.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was quite funny. But that was a big one. Lastly, the best drama of the year comes down to Theater of Blood's story mode quest.
So good.
They could have called it anything. They could have called it easy mode, entry mode, but no, they went with story mode because they told us this will give you it's not easy mode, it's a more narrative
You remember
mode.
How excited
so
we were about this?
We're like speculating, like, how many cutscenes do you think there will be?
Nah.
Bro, there's going to be voice acting. And they're like, no, there's not even going to be dialogue in general.
This one was funny.
Yeah, so we all thought it was going to be like very cinematic. We thought we were going to get like, we were speculating you walk into the raid solo, you have these two NPCs who are your two teammates who are going to get slaughtered during
we had some great ideas on that podcast, Dills.
It was too great. It was too great, which was the problem.
We just need to calm down.
We forget we're playing RuneScape. Yeah, we're like, man, it's going to be like, they're going to have 3D. You're going to have to get 3D glasses. It's going to pop out.
Here, it's going to be Theater of Blood. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah, do Theater of Blood. It's a little bit easier. Then when you're done, talk to a guy and he will tell you the quest is done. Oh, by the way, if you've already completed Theater of Blood, the quest is already done. It's auto-completed. So it wasn't even a quest. Yeah, so that was rough. Not only did we like have not high expectations, but we were like, oh, it could be anything.
I think people would have accepted it if they put it as a mini quest. That wasn't that you don't have to do. But now they changed it to something that everyone must do if you want to get your quest cape.
And it became the worst quest.
Still
happened.
Arguably is.
Yeah, like they have since gone back and they added some more to it. It is better. I think it could be way better than what it is, but it is better than what it was. So
I would have just loved the idea of companions. It would have been so cool, like going in and like people, there being like NPCs that were battling with you.
Yeah, well, it came out with hard mode, and the idea was that story mode was, they didn't want to call it entry mode or easy mode, even though that's what it was, because this was going to be a way for people to learn Theater of Blood, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, how it's got like this bar of entry because it's much more punishing. So they like do this entry mode, but we're gonna call it story mode because it's gonna be much more narrative driven. So yeah, we were like, okay, you're gonna learn the fights. Maybe you have NPCs that you watch them go in first and then they die. The thing is like when you do Theater of Blood, it's a theater and you can find throughout the rooms dead NPCs. There's like a guy in bandos who's been decapitated.
Yeah. How sick would it have been if those people were with you at the beginning and like you had to do it, and then as you go, you lose members. So when you get to Verzik, it's just you by yourself. You started out with a full party.
Bro, that would have been like so fucking sick.
If you don't know, so in the second room, there's like a max mage set. So like full ancestral, like dead there, I think. So imagine like you're in, you go in, the mage goes in to take on Bloat, and it shows the mechanic of like the fly and him getting stomped and then dying. And then you're like, oh shit, now I know I have to stay away from this guy. You know what I mean? Like in each room, you could lose one of the characters, and then they're permanently there in the display. Like it has so much potential, and it's
what a fun way to learn how the fight would work, and that would have been epic. And you have these NPCs who are already put there, and where people are asking like, who are they? There's the I think it's a ranger, but he's like tied up in cobwebs. Like you find these NPCs all throughout each of the rooms.
We're just too excited about it. They should hire us for this one. Storyboard.
I know. Yeah, ideas people. We just go in for the meetings like, guys, do this. And they're like, we literally can't.
Like you did it to Neve. Come on, surely you can do it to the rest of these people.
Right, yeah. There are some. That's the thing. There are some epic moments in quests, but they were like, no, for one of the best raids in the game, or there's 2 raids, so it's got to be one of the best. We're not really gonna do much, so yeah, you guys suck. That was unfortunate. So yeah, anyways, that happened. So what do you think? What's your favorite drama? Is it favorite drama? What's the best drama of the year?
I mean, it's not really hard. I think the 117scape thing takes the cake. It was just too perfect.
Yeah. I think it was hilarious that they had to backpedal, and then he went on to win a golden gnome. And what was also weird was like they tried to ban him, then they allowed him to do it. Then 117 came out and said came out with the plugin a week later or so, and then Jagex was like, guys, everyone check out this cool plugin that just came out. Everyone should go check this out. And it's like, you were literally just trying to shut it down, but okay, whatever. Ironic.
Yeah, the whole thing is just a hilarious situation, and just seeing how angry Reddit got. Yeah. It was the perfect storm, and I think it easily wins this one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I do think a nice runner-up is the Theater of Blood story mode,
especially for us because we're like all hype about it.
And I think it's funny because we're all like, they easily could do nothing, but no way would they do that because that would be so predictable. And then they went ahead and did that. And so I think that part's the funniest where you're just like, are you fucking
it was
kidding
outrageous
me?
For sure.
Yeah. Like, but we're like, I'm so excited doing a podcast because this is so dumb. Anyways. There's your kind of 2021 in a nutshell. I know we went through a lot, but this was nowhere as near as big as like past years, which is unfortunate. Maybe let's just go back quickly and look at 2021, right? When you look at the best new boss and PVM update, this is everything we got in 2019. The Hydra, Hespori, Mimic, Seracnus, Basilisk Knights, the Gauntlet, Volcano.
So much.
That wasn't even that much.
Is so much content. That's 6 new bosses compared to what we got this year.
Yeah,
which is Temperos.
Yeah,
and a bunch of hard modes.
Best new content: Farming Guild, Konar Slayer, Aerial Fishing, Beginner Clue Scrolls. Wow, the whole new tier of Clue Scrolls. Hosidius House Rework, Forthos Dungeon, Priftinas, Twisted Leagues. A lot of stuff there.
New Clue Scroll tier above Master.
Grandmaster, right?
Why not already have that? Grandmaster clues and just make them insanely hard and just make the rewards like cosmetic. They don't need to be great. They'd be worth some serious money for people who could do them. Have it like clue steps where you have to have like 6 items. Or where you have to have like an infernal cape for one of them, or maybe for another one you have to wear like an achievement diary cape for it, so it like motivates you to really push your account, or like a quest cape for one, or maybe one of them you have to have 99 wood cutting or something. Like you can really make them sweet. What
is like dance a jig at the fishing guild with a max infernal cape.
We're not going to push it too hard, but you know what I mean, like put it like one step above Master. which, or even have like, I mean, you can probably cut Sherlock, but maybe you could add a new NPC that makes you bring certain things to him, like untradeable items that would like make you go and grind for them.
Oh, and he keeps them.
Not that he
That's
keeps
cool.
them, like that he could do that, but just so like it motivates you. Like, what are some untradeable items that are in the game that don't often see?
Yeah, or even like you know how you have like for beginner clues, it's like go talk to Charlie the Tramp. I mean, we have this for a lot, but like challenge clue scrolls where it's like go cook me a trout, go fletch me a magic bow. They have these like challenge. Imagine getting a challenge one for a grandmaster that was receive a Bando's chest plate drop, and like you had to go grind it out.
How sick would that be? And then make the reward, like make them really hard to complete. That could take, you know, could take a good month to complete. And then, or like, get a collection log drop from like Seracnus. Just talking about my poor bingo team. But you know what I mean? Like make it something like that so you have to grind. It doesn't even need to be hard. It could be like a Seracnus cudgel, which still takes some time to do. So I think that would be a really fun. We're getting ahead of ourselves still. But then I don't know what the rewards could be. They could be, you know, you could have maybe ornament kits for weapons that don't currently have them, like Dragon Hunter Lance, stuff like that. Maybe an attachment to the spirit shields that makes them look like extra colors, or you could have like, I don't know, there's a bunch of things they could do. It doesn't need to be insane.
I like how they looked back for like, I like Third Age. I think Third Age is really cool, and it adds like a little element of lore where it's like this long lost armor from the God Wars era of the game. But it'd be cool to get like, I don't know, first age items.
Grandmaster caskets had like a really good chance to get Third Age, or like a significantly higher chance. So you don't want the game flooded because these Grandmaster caskets, like, you know, maybe you only complete 10 of them per year or something like that. But it gives you like a 1 in 100 chance to get like a piece of Third Age or something. Like, how sick would that be?
I love clue scrolls. I'm apparently a loot box junkie, but I do love clue scrolls. So,
and that just adds more like end game, like grindable content to accounts. So I don't know. It just seems like something they could. Yeah, it'd take a little bit of work to like fix out the details, but maybe I'll come up with a plan and I'll see what I can do. Do a proposal one of these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, throw it on Reddit, get some upvotes.
Probably not, but I'll throw it on here. Get some listens. People will be like, yeah, that'd be sweet. That's all I need.
Yeah, and then I can talk about. Have I ever talked about my swimming skill?
I believe so.
Bro, okay. I'll quickly say it's the best idea I've ever had. Everyone shits on me for it, but imagine there's like a new underwater area. It's like Atlantis, but it's not Atlantis. It's called something else. And when you go there, all your stats are reset to 1. You're back down to being a level 3 noob, but you have the ability to grind out that level from level 1 all the way up to whatever your land level is, right? Now you got these two, it's this new mechanic. You got land levels and sea levels. Your sea level can be between 1 and whatever your land level is. So if you are maxed on land, you can now max underwater, which gives you access to all these new gears and all these new weapons. Because a lot of the weapons won't work underwater. You have to use a whole new set. Bando's chest plate? No, you can't bring that underwater. You need to use Poseidon's chest plate, which is exactly the same. So
basically saying Bando's, like a huge expansion to the underground, like the underwater system, which I love underwater mechanics. I think be a bit janky, but they're always memorable, like water temples in Zelda. Always a favorite of mine.
Favorite? Oh my god, difficult, you're a masochist.
But, like, memorable for that reason.
They're memorable in like painful ways, yeah. Oh yeah, Mario 64, Donkey Kong, all the underwater levels are
because
rough.
The mechanics suck back then.
Yeah, and the real thinkers usually
water levels. I always just found them very interesting in like all games. So yeah, whether or not they're maybe not fun, but definitely memorable.
I always had that swimming idea. I thought about it a long time ago. Sometimes I just like to think about stuff, but I got it from God Wars 2, where in God Wars 2, when you go Guild Wars 2, when you go underwater, it's an MMO. When you go underwater, all your weapon attacks change to new types, and and there's like underwater specific gear you get, which I always thought was really cool. So when you're like doing PvP, you would jump in the water and get these new abilities. Anywho, doesn't matter. Yeah, well, maybe we'll stick to Grandmaster clues for 2022. We'll shelve the swimming skill for now. Wow, this is a bit of a doozy. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap. Okay, we're taking a quick little break, heading on over to the Grand Exchange, where we talk about different ways you can support the show and some of the fun stuff we have going on over at patreon.com. Normally, I try to kick off this segment with some Grand Exchange news or something else that kind of fits in that realm. I role play as an economist for like 5 minutes and have no idea what I'm talking about, and just talk about gold inflation and taxes and investing and Bitcoin and NFTs. No, we don't do that. No. Ever since I lost like $10,000 in Bitcoin, oh boy, we stay away from that crypto stuff. True story. I think probably in some older episodes I talk about it. I like invested like $4 or $5, like maybe $800 worth into Bitcoin when it was worth $4,000 USD. So like 2015, 2016, I can't quite remember. But a bunch of stuff happened. I lost my mnemonic password and I didn't have it. And then the company my wallet was at, either they changed names, they rebranded, or they came up with a whole new wallet and everything got converted to this new wallet. So all the data and information that I had that I could have possibly got access to my account was now gone because it was all under a new address. So today that Bitcoin that I bought at $4,000 is now worth 10 times as much. Okay, maybe it's not $10,000, about $4,000 to $8,000, because I can't exactly remember how much I put in there. But it's gone to the test of time. That sucks. So yeah, don't take any advice from me is what I'm pretty much saying. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Especially now. We got this volatile market. One thing that's kind of cool is we've seen the market kind of recover. Here, I can kind of pretend to be like an economist. We've seen the market recover with a lot of, high-end valued items have been kind of increasing at about 75%, which we've been seeing it kind of dropping marginally 2% every single month for the past 24 months or so. So we are seeing the market kind of correct. Are we on an upward spiral, or this could just be what the bubble is about to burst again, where it's going to crash as it did before? Only time will tell. That's it. What does any of that stuff mean? I have no idea. I'm like super overtired because this baby tends to stay up all night sometimes. So I apologize. So let's just get into talking about Patreon. What you got? What's going on over on a Patreon, guys? If you enjoy this podcast and you want to support the show, and maybe you want some extra podcast content as well, you can go to patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. We have a few different tiers. We got a $1 tier if you just want to support the show. We also have a $3 tier, which if you want to support the show, get some goodies as well. We have a the $3 tier will get you the weekly Q&A segment that Jagex does. I do a little commentary and pre and post show along with it. So that's what the $3 tier will get you. The $5 tier, this is the best bang for your buck, because you get not only that, you'll get early access to OSRS Rambles. I know I've only done a few of them, but I have a whole sheet of guests that I've lined up, and then I'm hoping to make time to do that. So when those episodes drop, you'll get access to that and early access to any bonus content. You get the old Dill's Diary episodes where I just talk about random topics that are kind of interesting to me. The last episode we did was the questing system in OSRS versus other MMORPGs. I just kind of talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's more like the good, the bad, and the neutral. And the $5 tier will also get you day one first impressions for when big piece of content comes out. I did one for Group Iron Man, and I recently did one for Next, because that dropped a couple of days ago. But we'll be talking about that in the next episode, of course. And then, of course, if you are Mr. Moneybags over there, you can do the $10 tier supporter, and each episode will be dedicated to you for supporting the show. So all of that, and possibly more if I have some more ideas or more time to do Patreon content as well as time goes on. So it's patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. You get all those fun little goodies. So, of course, thank you to Soul Ender and Zyras, our RuneFest news correspondent of 2018, I think it was. That was a fun event. I had so much fun doing that. Guys, if you don't know, Zyras went out to RuneFest. He bought himself a microphone and this whole portable setup. I live streamed the I was on Twitch live streaming the RuneFest streams. They had like 4 of them, so I was bouncing between them. And then every now and then, Zyros would call into the show to give us an update. What was going on with his boots on the ground? He also talked to Bodhi, and he talked to Mod Ash, so we got all of that on the live show. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I hope we can do that again one day. Anywho, thank you guys so much for the support. Of course, each episode is dedicated to our top tier supporters: Gentinu, Splimo, Szechuan, Strosity, Mallard, Twisted Soul, J Blast, Z Space, Yay Fiber, and Soul Ender. Thank you guys for your support. And thank you to everyone else who supports it as well. If you don't want bonus content and you just want to support the show by maybe you're a huge fan, a coffee enthusiast, you want to send some caffeine my way, which is always appreciated with this baby. Yeah, you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/dills. So thank you, Angie666, for buying me a coffee this week. Much appreciated. And finally, we have a Discord server. So I gotta thank everyone who boosts that Discord server, because you guys give us so many cool little goodies, like streaming in 1080p. What? That's some high def content. In RuneScape, if there's any game you want to have like the clearest quality as possible, that's RuneScape. I say that kind of jokingly, but at the same time, it does look pretty friggin' sweet. But it has a whole lot of cool stuff, including a unique URL. So I'm gonna plug it again, even though I'm gonna plug it in like 5 minutes because we're wrapping the show up, but discord.gg/thewilderness. So thank you, Bonehead, Battlestaffs, Beefy, Click, Chick, Fart Pilled, Hoyt, and Should've. Thank you guys so much for boosting the server. Appreciate you guys a bunch. Appreciate everyone who supports the show. Appreciates everyone who just like listens too. You guys are awesome, and come hang out in the clan Wild. Always fun stuff going on there. So many friendships being had. It's been such a good year. I'm so excited. Okay, ramble just a little bit more. This is what happens when I get overtired. This is a long episode too. I was like thinking, first of all, we have our 200 episode spectacular coming up. Got some stuff planned for that. All right, guys, let's get back to the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening to us so far. Okay, we're back. This is a big one. We haven't done a long episode like this in a long while. They're hard to do.
It's a good thing we took 2 days to do it.
I know.
This is not the split, by the way. That was a real break.
You were hungry. It was like 10 p.m. for me, and I was drinking espresso, and I felt like I was going to die. And then my baby stayed up all night, so then I had to stay up with him. And
now you feel like you're going to die. It's great.
I feel a little bit better, though. I went to bed at like 9 a.m., and I woke up at like 3 or 4 p.m., and then we jumped on and recorded. Yeah, all right, guys, if you want it, we've wrapped up with bingo, but it was the biggest one yet. Oh, next, we're going to be pushing for triple digits. A lot of people seem to have a lot of fun, but imagine getting 100 people, it sucks for you for balancing, but like...
Next is going to be something else day one. I honestly have no idea what to expect. I'm going in expecting to not even get in the room because I'm an Iron Man, but we shall see.
Oh, true. Interesting. Yeah, we're going to see. We're doing a mass as well on the day next is release, which is 7 a.m. EST. I'm going to see if I can take that day off work, but TBD. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, anyone can jump in. But if you want to kind of get on all the fun of the podcast and the clan and the community in general, we have a Discord, which is the discord.gg/thewilderness, all one word. We also have a clan in game, which is Clan Wild. A lot of people listening to older episodes keep joining the Wild CC, which is the friends chat. While it's still there, a lot of us have migrated over and we don't really use it as much anymore. So join the clan if you want to be a part of things. And our email is thewilderness.podcast@gmail.com. You can send us questions, answers. You can send whatever it is you want over and we'll read it on the podcast. I know we have some emails, but this was such a long episode that we're going to be saving it for the next episode when we get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, for 2022, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I have a baby now, but I do want to do more streaming because I did have a lot of fun with that. And I've like upgraded my setup, my computer setup, so that it's much more streamer friendly. I got all these cool little things I can do, but I haven't streamed in a really long time, but twitch.tv/thedills for whenever that happens. Harley, you got anything you wanna pump out there? You want to plug?
Maybe I should get my stream going.
Stream!
I streamed old school once, and it was for like a charity thing, like a few months ago.
You used to do like tournaments for a league. I remember seeing you do one of those.
Yeah, I used to stream League occasionally for like people that listen to Trinity Force. It was all right.
Yeah,
I find a hard time like setting a schedule with the way my life schedule is set up. So
yeah, fair enough. And it's hard. You got to be like
fully committed.
I was gonna say you got to be turned on for streaming, but not like not sexually turned on.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you could, but not always a good idea. But you got to be like firing on all cylinders, or else you're just sitting there snoozing.
It's usually not a problem for me, but yeah, this more the scheduling.
Yeah, fair enough. Okie dokie.
But yeah, nothing to shout out. Come join the Discord. Start prepping for the next bingo. Let's go. And hopefully 2022 is better than 2021. But I mean, it's good.
It has to be.
The bar is pretty freaking low, so
it has to be.
It has
and
to
if
be
not,
better.
If not, we will not be. We'll be a little negative Nancy's as usual.
Yeah, as usual. So, song.
We could. I do have one pulled up.
You have one pulled up. Yeah, you can go for it.
Sometimes I try to type in a keyword to see if it matches. This one's called Yesteryear.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, is this a good one?
This was one from back in the day when I was like, I remember playing this one actively when I was a kid. I like to play it.
Yeah, this comes from the RuneScape Classic, I believe. Oh no, that's a lie. I take that back.
I think you get it just below Lumbridge.
Yep. It came out June 1st, 2004. Yeah, it is unlocked when player first arrives in Lumbridge, but can also be heard around Lumbridge Swamp and farmlands. In this area, the music will also shuffle between Autumn Voyage, Book of Spells, Dream, Flute Salad, and Harmony. Yeah, they added this like dynamic music thing where like you go to an area and it's not always going to be the same song. It'll be like a handful of different songs, which I think is also really cool.
Flute Salad,
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, Yesteryear is really, really good. One of my all-time favorites. The other one is, I think it's Magical Journey or Overture from Cath Sears Village. Such a good tune.
Oh, I need to listen to that one afterwards. Here's some fun trivia. This song contains many themes from Newbie Melody, and there is a remix of this track called Norse Code, which was featured on every time I talk about Norse Code, I have to feature the clip from this crime drama where they referenced RuneScape, but you could tell somebody just Googled a word and RuneScape came up. So they're like, we're going to talk about this game. It was funny. Not this episode.
When the killer played 60 hours of RuneScape a week.
No. Well, there's no way he could have murdered the person if he's been grinding so hard. Anyways. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.
And good luck with 2022.
Yep.